Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to One for Paul. This is the show where I give a bunch of indie or popular culture movies to my good friend, Mr. Paul.
Hi.
In front of the mic again, as promised.
I missed you last time.
Yes, but you were audibly heard. Apparently, the water's great. Everybody should come in.
Yeah.
You'll find out more about that when the episode goes up.
How did that not go up?
Oh, don't. That's a story for off the mic, dear.
Fair enough.
But it is being sorted.
I forgot we were on the mic, which is weird given that I put them up.
Today we're discussing one of my all-time favorite movies. It's directed by Kevin Smith. It came out in 1994. We are talking about Clerks.
That's right. We're talking about Clerks, the unofficial movie about the many Clark Kents of the multiverse, traveling the multiverse, defeating evil.
Oh, it's a story about two guys in a corner shop in New Jersey.
That even sounds better.
Yeah.
That sounds even better.
Or Clark's the shoe shop, which my old work...
Clark Kent runs a shoe shop.
No, there's Clark's.
That sounds super.
Clark's is a shoe shop in the UK.
I'm aware. My joke was better.
If you say so. I did... With Clerks, it's the reason why it's my all-time favorite movie is Kevin Smith is my favorite director, and when I was shown Clerks after seeing Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, because I wanted to know where these characters came from.
And I had no idea about any of this because I've never seen a Kevin Smith movie.
Never seen a Kevin Smith movie?
Never
which
once.
Baffles me.
It kind of baffles me too now because I looked into his list of films he's done. Mm-hmm. He's done a lot of movies.
Yeah.
A lot of movies that I've heard of and was like... I always figured, I'll watch it later. It's fine. I'm sure it's fine. And then later turned into 20 years later. And here we are.
I'm trying to think. It's Clerks, Mallrats, Chasing Amy.
Because Clerks was his first one.
Clerks
or if it wasn't, then there were some weird choices made. There were sort of some weird choices made anyway.
Clerks is his first movie.
Okay.
And then it's Mallrats, Chasing Amy, Dogma, Jersey Girl, Clerks.
Oh, he made
2.
Dogma.
Yeah. Because Jan Silent Bob.
What with the bowling man?
Pardon?
Did that have the bowling guy?
Bowling guy?
There's a dude who bowled skulls.
No. That's Mystery Men.
Oh.
That's what you're thinking of.
Oh.
Dogma is a movie about his view on Catholicism.
So we're watching Clerks this time.
Yes.
So this is like your favorite movie ever?
It's not my favorite movie ever. My favorite all-time movie is Back to the Future Part 2, but this is my favorite Kevin Smith movie.
Okay. Like, is this top 10 for you? Is this?
Oh, yeah, it's in my top 10. Easy in my top 3.
Someday we are going to do your top 10.
Yeah, no, me and Dan have said we would do it, but it's one of those things, it would be the top 10 for that week, because it changes so very often. I mean, my definitive top 3 I have, which will never change. They're my 3 all-time favorite movies. But,
which will be revealed at a later time. Stay tuned, kids.
Yes, it will. But starting off with Clerks, the story behind the movie is the fact that Kevin Smith went to film school in Vancouver. He was supposed to be there for 6 months. He dropped out after 3.
Oh, Canada.
He went to the Vancouver Film School. He has got an honorary degree now, but... he left, and then him and the producer of the movie, Scott Mosier, said, all right, the first one of us to finish writing their movie, the other one will come and help and be the producer.
Okay.
And Kevin Smith finished his movie first, which was Clerks.
Finish the script, you mean?
Finished the script first, yeah. So Scott came and was his DP.
Well, wasn't the DOP David Klein?
Klein joins later on, but Scott was the original DP on.
Oh, okay, yeah. I just read the IMDb credits because I have a few cinematographical notes. Mm-hmm. That's a word for the day.
Well, Kevin Smith self-funded this movie. It cost $27,000 all in all, but he maxed out credit cards. He literally technically committed fraud to make this movie. Shh. No, he's spoken about it. He'd set a RST Video and Quickstop, which is the location of this movie. Mm-hmm. Those are the two places he did generally work in. Every time they rung a credit card company rung RST Video to be like, we've been told Kevin Smith earns like $50,000 a year with you guys, and he's like, yeah, earns $50,000, most expensive video clerk in the world. And he's just, all right, here's your $7,000 credit card then.
That's hilarious.
That's what he did. You can't get away with it anymore, not with web checks and everything.
I don't think you ever should have been able to get away with it then.
He got lucky. Immediately once it got picked up at Sundance, he got the money back and paid all the cards off straight away and closed a lot of them.
Yeah.
But then he was on slight Hollywood money, so it wasn't really a problem.
Yeah,
he had a credit card registered at the Warner Brothers store, so when anything new came in, he automatically got it.
Oh wow,
yeah,
jeez. Didn't he also sell his credit card not his credit card
sold
collection?
He sold.
He sold his credit card collection. Comic collection.
$2,000 of the money he raised was from his comic book collection.
Oh my lord!
$4,000 was from 2 cars that got wiped out in the nor'easter floods.
Oh no!
That James Hughes, he was just like, you're not going to get any money from these cars. So all the money was under James Hughes' name. And then when he got the check for $8,000, cut him off 4, and that went into Clerks.
So the production of this is sort of, I'm getting shades of Don Quixote here. Like,
yeah.
It was just, the fact that this thing exists is miraculous on its own.
Yeah, he was determined to make the movie, but again, a lot of things went his way, and there was an absolute chance that nothing would have come of this. He would have spent the rest of his life paying off that $27,000 debt, working in Quick Stop. Most probably would have had to got a second job.
Carl,
yeah,
explain the View Askew Productions logo.
All right, the introduction.
Yeah, explain yourself, Carl.
No, that's not me.
Explain himself, Carl. Explain Kevin Smith's self.
It was one of those things where he needed a title card, and for some reason he went with a naked clown while the kid's batting a ball in front of him.
Now I'm going to leave for no reason. Ugh, really? It was just...
Yeah,
they needed a title card, and he was like, here's an idea.
A guy designed it for him, if memory serves, and it was too late to change it. And it'll do. No, in his mind at the time, no one's really ever going to see this again.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that title card sort of put me off for the first 10 minutes of the movie, if I'm honest.
But didn't Love 'Em on the Freaks' Clerks not get you into the movie?
A little bit, but it's...
Obviously, the film opens up with...
It opens up with this weird title card with... If you haven't seen it, I can't even explain it. Look it up.
It's not as good as The Room's title card, which are 3 different types of entrance music for the Tommy Wiseau's movie companies.
Yeah.
All of them are Wiseau productions, but they're 3 different versions.
And everything is done by Tommy Wiseau.
Everything's done by Tommy Wiseau.
I want to...
He's the most names in a credits I've ever seen.
Is it bad that I've seen the intro sting for that and then immediately went, right, I'm out, and then haven't watched the rest of the movie? Because it was like, I get it, it's funny, I'm leaving now.
You're doing yourself a disservice not watching The Room.
Are we adding it to the list?
Yes.
We're adding it to the list.
Yeah.
But this time, it opens on a dude waking up...
in his wardrobe.
In the closet.
That's not a metaphor. But he literally rolls out the closet to a phone call to being told that he has to go to work.
This is Dante, and the closet is his first circle of hell.
Yes. Yeah, basically.
Being stuck in the closet is Dante's first circle of hell.
He's not gay. He has a girlfriend.
No, I mean literally, he was stuck in the closet and fell out of the closet to answer the phone to his boss, who wants him to come in on his day off.
Yes.
He is not happy about
and he has to as long as somebody's in before 2 so he can go to hockey.
Yeah, he has a scheduled hockey game. He's got stuff going on because he planned things on his day off. He is a productive member of society.
Which we all do.
Yeah.
But he ends up, and then we get the montage of him getting ready, drinking cold coffee mixed with milk out of a...
Oh, wait. I have a checklist. Yep. Doc Martens. Check.
Yep. 90s.
Drinking cereal from something not intended for that purpose. Check.
No, it's coffee. He's drinking coffee and milk.
Coffee and milk out of, like, a cookie jar's lid.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's
caffeinated.
I'm going to call it coffee and cereal are interchangeable for this purpose, but that's a check on the checklist. Stealing from newspaper vending machines. Check.
Yep, because whatever newspaper wasn't delivered to the store, so he just goes to a nearby newspaper distributor and just steals it.
Yep.
To sell in his store.
Goatee and oversized overshirt. Check.
90s.
General sense of existential ennui presented as small-town stagnation. Check. We're in the 90s, ladies and gentlemen. We've correctly located our decade.
And then, of course, the gum stuck in the locks.
Yeah, so someone stuck gum in the locks, preventing him from opening it up. I guarantee you this was... They had the location, but no one had the keys for those locks, so they just turned it into part of the script.
No? What
You're
it was is, obviously, Kevin Smith worked at Quick Stop during the day, and Quick Stop was open, as it's slated on the sign. It's open from 7 in the morning till 10 at night. And Kevin would usually work the whole day. Then once the store closed, they'd film at night, all the stuff inside the store. But they didn't want to explain why scenes that are happening during the day, during this one day, are in darkness. So he just wrote into the script that there was gum in the shutters so they could have the shutters down while they were obviously the
So early morning they do the shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it was filmed over a month.
It did occur. It seemed to me like one of those resource decisions, because this is starting to feel to me like a resource film. Mm-hmm. For those of you who don't know what that means, resource film, the way you would normally do a Hollywood film, you get the script, you get the people involved, you get everything sort of moving and involved in pre-production and all of that, and then you figure out, right, what's the budget for this, set the budget and do whatever you're doing. That's a little different to what Smith did.
Kevin Smith's definition of that now is, for me to tell a story, I need $20 million and Ben Affleck.
Right.
But back then it was, I've got my friends, I've got these 2 stores that I can film in front of or in at night.
Literally, you look at what resources do you have as a filmmaker, and you use those resources. Can you use a location that is free for you? Can you set in his case, he has the shop he works at, so he films there.
I think he had to give a little bit of money to his bosses at the time, but I think they were just taking it out of his work check. Just for the electric. I think he had to pay for the utilities that he was using over the night.
There was a budget. Like there was $27,000 of budget, so you can pay people, but you don't. The idea is, I have a camera, 3 microphones, 6 actors, quote unquote actors, and that's what I have to work with.
A couple of them were professional actors. They held auditions.
Not to say this one specifically, but in general, for example, you might start as a filmmaker with a couple of things, and you look at, this is the equipment and resources I have, including sets, whatever. What can I get on the cheap? What can I get people to donate? What can I get to blag? Whatever. And then you make your movie around those limitations. You barely show up with a script, right? You might show up with a vague idea of what you want to make, but I quite like that style of filmmaking. And we're seeing a lot more of it on YouTube with the rise of the amateur filmmaker, and there's some great stuff out there. And I'm now, having seen this, figuring, well, there's going to be a lot of people who are inspired by this going, well, I can do better than that.
And Kevin Smith quotes that all the time. He always takes it when people say, "Oh, you're the reason I got into filmmaking," is just because he thinks people go, "Well, I can make a movie better than this."
Or more to the point, like, even if you can't make it better, you can be like, "Well, shit, the dude had like a black and white camera and 6 hours on a Sunday. Like, I have that. Yeah, I can do something like that. Let's go."
It did lead to the rise of these kind of movies, because the reason Kevin Smith wrote Clerks was because he didn't see him and his friends represented in the cinema. Like in movies, there wasn't a movie about 20-somethings who don't really know where they're going in life.
Gen Xers, generally.
Yeah, right? and spend their time shooting the shit about pop culture, which is happens a lot in this movie, and we'll get to those discussions.
Definitely, yeah.
But we talk about the first customer that we see, which is a man who just wants to drink his coffee at the till point, and the kid comes in,
and nothing else weird happens.
No.
So the next scene is
a guy comes in, looking for a pack of cigarettes, and the guy drinking his coffee is just like, "Are you sure you want those cigarettes?
You sure about that? You sure you want those?" And then proceeds to present him with a diseased lung from his bag that he just carries around with him.
And a trach ring that was out of an 85-year-old gentleman's throat.
That is short for tracheotomy ring.
Yeah.
Tracheostomy?
Tracheotomy, I think is.
Well, otomy would be you take it out. Tracheostomy, I think, is when you put a hole in it.
You would know better than I would.
Yeah, so if you happen to be a tracheal surgeon, then... I don't know. Send us angry things on Twitter.
It's a plastic ring that they put in your throat when your voice box don't work no more.
Yeah.
And apparently the guy... so it convinces the kid enough to not buy...
Instead, he buys a very specific brand of gum.
Chuli's gum.
Chuli's gum.
He asks the guy to leave, but the guy refuses.
Dante is a merchant of death.
Yeah.
Who rightfully gets cigarettes thrown at him.
Cancer merchant.
He's a cancer merchant.
He's a cancer merchant.
I'm convinced, Carl.
Yeah.
I've been convinced since that guy showed me the lung.
Yep.
That's a dedication, man.
And then one of my favorite characters in this movie turns up to break up the mob with a fire extinguisher.
Yeah, Ripley shows up.
Nope, it's Veronica.
I know. It definitely reminded me of...
Ripley from Alien.
Yeah, that's what I was making reference to. I can make a pop culture reference. I have done this once.
It's all good, man. But she's like, who's in this mob? And then that's when we find out the guy with the lung and the thing is a Chuli's gum representative.
He's just trying to sell gum.
Yeah.
It's a weird way to sell gum.
I mean...
It's a really weird pitch.
I mean, granted, you're trying to get this... It is a part of the gum market is trying... At the time, definitely was trying to get the cigarette market, because you could still smoke everywhere in the early 90s.
Most places, yeah. Yeah, North America, certainly.
Yeah. I mean, it was still allowed in, I think it's still allowed in like casinos. I think restaurants were introducing smoking and non-smoking sections, but you could still generally smoke in restaurants and bars.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really in the States. In Canada, when I was little, I moved to the UK in like 96.
Yeah.
So I definitely remember, like, I'd go to McDonald's with my family and there would be a glassed off section that was the smoking section. Mm-hmm. But we're Canada, so we've always taken stuff like that a bit more seriously.
Of course.
Particularly where children are involved. We're like, even if there's a chance, maybe like smoke in the other room, fellas. Mm-hmm. That's all it is. But I remember taking a smoking flight at one point. It was one of the last routes in North America that had smoking flights. Mm-hmm. You know, I think it was like Montreal and Toronto or something, and I just felt so sick. I was like 8 years old or something.
Where I grew up in pubs where where people were smoking.
With kids with smoke.
Yo, kids were smoking. Some kids were smoking.
That's awful.
I'm not going to lie to you.
What kind of horrendous, awful scumbag person would do such a thing?
A butter churn pub in the night.
We should find them.
Nah, they're gone now. Hocked up a lung. But no.
Oh, that's where he got it.
Yeah. No. But then we obviously get the relationship. We start establishing Dante's relationship with Veronica.
Yeah, he shouldn't even be here today.
He shouldn't have been there today.
He shouldn't have been. Why is he even here?
I do love the experiment, and it's true because I have done it in certain places I work. If you leave a sign of money for people to get stuff like you're being watched, honesty through paranoia, it's true. If you generally people nowadays if there's nobody there, they assume they're being watched.
I mean, again, I'm Canadian, so for me, it's like a normal thing to have an honesty shop.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you can just open the shop and leave for the day and say, like, please pay the correct amount.
And people generally
And people will pretty much... I mean, I'm also from a country where the most frequent result of a break-in is, like, a kid will steal a pack of cigarettes and a bottle of booze and leave.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's... I'm from... That's where I'm from. Right?
Whereas I grew up in not far out of Croydon, and people were wrenching ATMs out of the wall.
Yeah, just for fun.
Just with cars, chains, and wrenching out ATMs.
I mean, you got to admire the scale there. Like, they watched what was it with Michael Caine and the heist?
Oh, Italian Job.
Yeah, they watched Italian Job and went like, well, I know what I'm doing with my life. That's what I want to do.
And of course, Dante is an attentive boyfriend, painting his girlfriend Veronica's nails.
It's a really sweet moment, actually, which is weird given the filthy, filthy conversation.
Oh, yeah, talking about how to please men and women in the bedroom.
Yeah, and like arguing about like, which is harder, to please a man or a woman? And she's like quite authoritatively saying, I don't know, man. I think it's a little bit more difficult to please a man than you're giving it credit for. Like,
yeah,
you just have to show up.
Yeah, show up.
Turns out...
Insert into orifice, preferably moist. Repeat.
God, it's a filthy, filthy scene, but also...
It's not the filthiest scene in this movie.
No, it's not. And it's also really sweet, actually.
Yeah, it's a nice... It's a couple's... It's a genuine couple relationship. A lot of people... Kevin Smith can write a good relationship or a realistic relationship.
This is what I like about the way it's portrayed, because, like, isn't this the kind... If you've been with someone for a year, isn't this the kind of conversation you might have with them when you've been intimate with somebody for a year?
Yeah.
It's conceivable.
Yeah.
And these are both people who are super comfortable with this kind of talk. I think on screen it's a little gross, the way it was presented, but...
And at the time, even Kevin Smith, when he first watched it at the New York Film Festival where it debuted, he was just like, why are they swearing so much?
Right.
Because he wrote the script and wrote all that swearing into it, but he's like, I don't think I've said this much swearing in my life, and these guys are just effing and blinding. Well, that's more of a British colloquialism. Blinding.
Is that
effing and blinding? It's like effing and jeffing, just constantly swearing.
Is that how you with the eye?
Yeah. Well, it's actually a British
Someone
term.
swore so hard at you
that I lost an eye. Yeah.
That's canon now.
Yeah, okay. It's cool. It's one of the continuing stories of how I lost my eye on this podcast.
I'm going to maintain we should never actually tell anybody. We should just let the mythology grow.
I think Stu had me. But that's old PCP.
Yeah, so cut to Beavis and Daria.
Ah, yes. We are introduced to the two iconic Kevin Smith characters that will appear in every movie except for Jersey Girl at this point.
They appear in Dogma.
They're in Dogma.
Really?
Yeah. They are the prophets.
Really?
Two of them.
God, I need to see Dogma now. We're adding it to the list.
One of them will talk at length as much as you don't want him to.
The other doesn't say much.
The other doesn't say much.
Yeah.
He has the best line in this movie, but others don't say much.
Yeah, we'll get to that line.
We're introduced to Jay and Silent Bob, which are local weed dealers. Jay is based on Jay Muse at age 16. And Silent Bob was just a character so Kevin Smith could be in the movie, really.
Yeah, pretty much. But now we're sort of cutting back and forth from them smoking outside to the smoking guy and the conversation.
Yeah.
They're sort of interspersed as inserts anywhere in the movie.
I think they're just adding moments of levity during certain points because they are the comic relief of this, truly the comic relief of this movie.
They're a little bit the comic relief, but it's also, it's cool that the insert shots are not always reverse shot on a character having a conversation and then insert of both of them speaking. It's insert of like guys outside smoking as a sort of they keep establishing shots. It's kind of great. Every other couple of minutes, there's an establishing shot just by accident almost. It's kind of great. I hope that was done deliberately. It's kind of genius. Gives it a good sense of place because having lived small town North America, there are definitely people who just spend all day hanging out outside the convenience store because in a small town there is nothing else. To
be honest with you, there's still a lot of that culture here. You do get, especially going through Croydon High Street after schools are breaking out, there's always a group in front of each McDonald's in that high street. Like always just crowded around, just standing in front of a McDonald's.
I was also a teenager in London. I do get that.
Yeah, but still. I never did that. I never hung out in front of like a shop or anything. I hung out in a comic book shop in my late teens. But that's because I was just diehard into comics.
Are you seeing sort of early 20s you in Clerks at all, or is it real specifically North American?
There is a little bit, especially I was introduced to Clerk at 15, and I identified even at that age so much with Dante. As much as I now wish I was Randall, I was definitely the Dante in most of the situations, especially in my friends group. If it was me and Dan, Dan's clearly Randall.
I think both of you are kind of both. Depending on the day.
I am more Dante than Randall. Dan is very much Randall.
Yeah, maybe.
He has literally wrangled into rooms before.
In the sense that insecurity is your second circle of hell. Yeah. It is also Dante's second circle of hell.
Because he finds out after Willem.
37.
Yes, 37 dicks. Willem comes
including his.
Including his.
That's a cool detail because anytime he brings it up, it's 36.
Yeah.
He doesn't include himself.
No. Him and Veronica are talking about how many partners they've had after Willem comes in. He finds out he calls Willem Snowball.
Yeah.
And she reveals that's a term where once a gentleman has...
We know. Once a gentleman has accomplished a fact...
Released his man relishes into a lady...
Oh, God, it's somehow more filthy in Britishisms.
And the lady then takes said man relish and...
His gentleman relish.
And spits it back into his mouth.
Ugh!
It's called snowballing.
Well... I learned a thing.
And then Dante thinking, oh, your friend did that to him. That's so gross. Like, no, I've done that to him, which leads to...
But that wasn't part of you said 3, including me. He wasn't part of the other 2. Who the hell?
Yeah, because he slept with 12 women. She slept with 3 guys, including him. Yeah. And it's revealed that though she would not go all the way with guys, she would go to third base.
Isn't third... I think we're talking second base here.
Second base is... touching the...
Is it?
Yeah, third bases or obviously four.
And then home run is whatever.
Is the...
What's a grand slam?
Anal.
Oh, man. Walked right into that one. Backwards.
You can do. I wouldn't recommend it. And then it obviously leads to 37 dicks, and it's why...
I'm sorry, guys. We're talking about Clerks. There's no avoiding the filthy jokes. We're going to have to indulge ourselves.
As I said, this is a show on this network. Everything has an explicit tag because we're going to talk about it as well as we can. Then, of course, Veronica gets upset because she says, she reveals she's sucked 36 guys off. Then, of course, it's 37, including Dante. She goes out and then storms out and then shouts. A guy comes in to the shop. It's like, my girlfriend sucked 37 dicks in a row.
He's not impressed by this.
No. And then a guy standing outside the shop, Veronica walks past, and he's like, try not to suck any dick through the parking lot. And then the guy
looks very excited and goes, ooh, okay.
And then follows Veronica, and he's like, hey, get back here.
That's a lovely scene.
Yeah.
I'm almost don't want to. I'm assuming that we don't need to give spoiler alerts for what is a scene by scene breakdown of.
No. This is what this film is. It's getting your view on it whilst breaking down the movie.
Yeah, at this point, I still don't think I was super in yet. I was still sort of I'm waiting for something to happen.
A lot of people, when I talk to them about this movie, it's when a certain character comes into it, they start getting a bit more gripped.
Yeah, speaking of which, Randall shows up.
Oh, no. We have a gentleman in the quick stop trying to ask why RST Video isn't open.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Who's trying to return the tape. And
yeah, he's not impressed.
He's not impressed with the lackadaisical antics of a Mr. Randall. He wrangles into the shop, and Randall is one of these guys is like, he's going to be happy working in RST for the rest of his life.
He's sort of happy doing whatever.
He's content because he's in a job where he can literally fuck about with people and he'll never lose his job.
He hasn't lost it yet.
Yeah, he won't lose it. He's actually based on Kevin Smith's friend Brian Johnson, who in later films will be known as Steve Dave.
Steve Dave?
Steve Dave. Tell him Steve Dave. That's played by another friend who you also see in this movie. He was the Eggman, who's Walter Flanagan.
I don't remember him in Sonic.
Yes. Brian Johnson literally worked with Kevin in Quick Stop for a while, and he was the kind of person that would get the star the Dayglow star things like you put sale items on.
Oh yeah,
he would.
I hate those.
He would take a pack of butter and then just put new in stock on this butter in front of the things, and people would, and just to see if people would buy it just because it had a new in store. It's the butter they've always sold since the store opened. And they sold more butter that week just because it was like that. He would just fuck with people.
Yeah. I mean, I'm convinced most of retail is stuff like that.
I spent a whole Saturday working in the early learning center. Instead of at the end of every transaction, you say thank you and have a nice day.
Yeah.
I got bored and realized people weren't listening or weren't paying attention. I thought I'd test this theory out. I spent a whole Saturday going, thank you, praise Satan. Nobody clocked. For the whole day, I didn't get not a single complaint, not a single person raised an eyebrow.
Wow.
My manager clocked on beforehand, and went to me, "You can't say stuff like that." Well, my supervisor, my manager I would have got in trouble. But my supervisor was like, "Dude, you can't say that, man. You're taking the piss now." I went, "Dude, I've been doing it since 9:30 this morning. This is about 1 PM.
Yeah.
I've been doing it since 9:30 this morning, and no one's batting an eye. It's like there's no way you've got away with it for that long." And I went, "Give me half an hour."
Yeah,
and I continued doing it. He just let me continue.
That's hilarious.
I was still doing my job. I was still getting birthday club stuff, which is like the incentive thing in our work. So he was just like, dude, if you're still doing your job and not getting away with it, just have fun.
I spent an afternoon at one point replacing orange stickers that said now on sale by 20% with yellow stickers that said new on sale 20%, and we increased our sales.
Yeah. Because people thought they were getting a brand new bargain.
Well, yeah, exactly. But it was the same price as always. Retail is terrible.
Yeah.
I got very close to becoming a Dante,
I became a Dante in the early learning center.
I fear I became a Dante when I worked in retail. The organization still exists. I don't care. I'm not giving them publicity.
I can say early learning center because they're all but gone. They're a feature in Mothercare, but I think they're being abolished from Mothercare because Mothercare's going in.
Evidently good.
Yeah.
Because I've heard stories.
Yeah.
Retail is awful. Shop online.
Yeah. As much as I still love brick and mortar, I still like walking into a shop.
Depends on the shop.
There's
a lot of shops that don't need shops.
It's specialist stuff though. It's like comic books and figure. It's mainly like stuff that I want to see physically because I don't trust an online image of stuff, especially statuettes.
For me, it's bags. If I need to buy a bag, I need to put my hands upon the bag and open up the pouches. And
the one I use, my satchel, was an online purchase. My Ted Baker one, but again, it was one of those ones that the pictures were like opened up, like someone holding the bag open. Shoes.
I cannot buy shoes online. I refuse. I can't.
I've been wearing Converses since I was 13, so I'm good. You can't go wrong. They're exactly the same every time.
Yeah,
But Randall.
Yeah, Randall. Randall's great.
Yeah.
Randall works next door and does not care.
Originally, Kevin Smith was going to play Randall. That's why Randall has the best lines.
Really?
But he realised he's not an actor. And then when Jeff Anderson, the guy who plays Randall, actually came in and auditioned to play Jay.
Oh, yeah.
Because
it
wasn't confirmed that Jay Muse was going to play the character. Cause,
I could see that.
But, and then he was offered Randall because of how good his audition was for Jay.
Yeah, Randall's a cool case because this is one of these cases of the delivery being real stilted a lot of the time.
It's dry.
It does not matter.
It's very dry.
Yeah, and occasionally it sounds non-actory. This is all I mean by stilted. I don't mean it in a negative, just in the way of like a bit stiff.
Yeah.
Right? A bit stiff, a bit rehearsed. They've rehearsed it clearly, but they haven't internalized it as.
They had a whole month of rehearsals before the film. They just ran the script.
Sure, yeah. All I mean to say is it doesn't seem actorly, if that makes sense.
No,
it seems amateur in a lovely way.
This was Jeff Anderson's. A lot of these guys, it was their first movie.
Well, this is what I mean.
Well, I think it was Jeff and Jay's first time acting in anything.
I want to stress again, I like it. It just doesn't, like, I would not imagine a seasoned actor giving such a performance. I don't even know that they'd be capable of it anymore.
No.
If you asked Brad Pitt to give this kind of performance, I don't know if he'd be capable of it. Maybe with preparation, but I think they'd have to use amateur.
They don't live in that. They don't live in that world.
Exactly, right?
That's the thing. This is very much people who lived this life.
Yeah, in a way,
there's a realism to some of the things they're saying.
To most of it, I'd say, yeah. Because, I mean, they have a conversation, Dante and Randall, about Dante's relationships, and it turns out he's still pining for his ex for some reason. Veronica's great, but he somehow... Caitlin is the...
He's about to marry
flame.
Yeah, he's about to marry an Asian design major.
An ancient design major.
Asian design
major.
Yeah.
I think they get that wrong a couple of times too, don't they?
Yeah, it is Asian design major, which is literally because one of Kevin Smith's first love interests went on to marry an Asian design major.
Looking back, I could see that now. Yeah, I probably should have clocked on that.
When it was... Yeah, because he read...
She's engaged.
He reads in the paper that it's announced that he's engaged. She's engaged.
Yeah, the four of them need to have a talk.
Yeah.
That's a great line. That's a great line. You guys know the line I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Veronica is great, and Dante doesn't seem to get that because being self-absorbed is his third circle of Dante's hell.
Well, it is that he's so focused on his own life that he doesn't realize the great things he has around him. And Veronica is definitely...
She's killer, man.
She's a girl. Again, I'm not spoiling the line, but Kevin Smith's line, Bob's line, amalgamates it brilliantly.
Later on,
but when we get to it,
we need to lead up to that because there's a couple of little turning points that lead up even to this turning point that we're talking about, and that needs its own. We're going to let that one breathe a bit, but this is prefacing that somewhat. Olaf shows up.
Yes,
metal face berserker.
This is Bob's cousin, Silent Bob's cousin Olaf.
His Russian cousin Olaf.
Yes, this is based on something that him and Jay used to do when they used to were bored in like the malls. Is that Jay would pretend to be Russian, and just say random words in Russian, which aren't real.
I'm pretty
Skrelnek is not a Russian word.
I'm sure that Olaf has not actually said any Russian words. All of his dialogue is English or a random grunt.
Yeah, well, he sings in English because he's part of a metal band.
Yeah, they're going to go to the big city.
Yeah.
Not any particular big city, just there's only one, the big city.
Oh, yeah, which is, in this case, because it's New Jersey, it's New York City. Is
this based in Jersey?
Yeah, it's in Red Bank, New Jersey. This is literally those stores still exist. You can still go to RST Video and Quick Stop.
Okay, then there's some details later that I'll point out which are quite fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's performing his thing like, oh, yeah, sing your metal song, dude.
It's called Berserker, and they actually recorded... Once the film got picked up, they recorded the track with Olaf singing.
Yeah, and the version I saw has that song in it as part of the soundtrack. It's quite brilliant.
Berserker!
And it's like he's not even good.
No,
it's hilarious.
It's not great. It's not great.
Berserker.
Yeah.
I'm like,
the lines are, my love for you is like a truck berserker. Would you like some achy fuck berserker?
Did he just say making fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he performs this to
Snowball. Two young women, and Snowball's there.
Yeah, Snowball is there, and his reaction is priceless.
Which is my favorite line of the movie. So what do you want, Grizzly Adams?
No, not yet. He hears Berserker and goes, that's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
That's beautiful, man.
Which is like... As a metal fan, I'll say I've heard that before. Like, but what if can metal be beautiful? And I'm like, yeah. Apocalyptica, definitely. But even if we ignore the instrumentation change, I'll tell you, Black Sabbath, the first Sabbath record, Paranoid, had a ballad on there. It had a fucking ballad. Are we going to say that's not metal?
No.
More recently, things like Opeth's Pale Communion, 2015, I think. That was a gorgeous album.
Vermilion Part 2 by Slipknot.
Agreed. Totally agreed. There is, so as much as in 94, what was metal, it was pretty much, Pantera was doing their thing.
They were the Pantera and
Metallica was pretty big in 94. I think we were preload, I think.
Preload, Black Album, Riding High, I think.
No, wait, we were post-load. Load was in the 80s. Pre-Black Album, because Black Album was 95.
So, that means they're dropping they'll be starting to drop the singles at this point from the Black Album.
Yeah, I mean, Metallica's been around for a while at this point, and anyway, we're not talking about that. But
no.
Just to say, what was metal in 94? It was not Opeth. It was not Scandi metal. Scandi metal wasn't a thing yet. There were some scene stuff around Gothenburg and wherever else, but it wasn't really a thing.
Well,
in North America.
this soundtrack has Love Among the Freaks, Alice in Chains. It's very metal.
Is Alice in Chains metal? I don't know.
I'd say it's hardcore at least.
Not hard rock, sure.
Hard rock, definitely. It's definitely rock.
Anyway, metal's whatever. It's got at least six metals.
Every genre's fluid at this point.
Pretty much. Genres are sort of pointless if you start trying to do them too much. It's just a convenient way to talk obliquely about a group of musicians.
Whereas acidic Jew reggae is still one of my favorite things to bust out on people.
Acid Jew reggae?
Acidic Jew reggae.
Oh, Hasidic.
Yeah, Hasidic.
Yeah, I heard acidic, and I'm like, that's way better. Acid Jew.
No, it's acidic Jew reggae.
Acid Jew
Matis Yahoo, who's brilliant. He's really good.
Is it bad that I now want to find Acid Jew reggae?
You could find it. SoundCloud's a hell of a thing.
It really is. If someone's making this, please someone tell me on Twitter because I'm fascinated. That sounds amazing.
Right, so we've met Olaf. We're back in the store. The conversation is workers on the Death Star.
Not yet, no, because a word of advice, sometimes you gotta let those hard-to-reach chips go.
Oh, yes, it's the guy with the Pringle can stuck in his hand.
And it's, of course, who's gonna help? Dante.
Yeah.
Dante, evidently this is what he chooses to do, is help people.
Why didn't he tip the can up?
I'm also confused, but how do you get your hands... Just tick the...
You
don't even need to let the chips go, you just have to turn the can over. It's not that hard to get the bottom chips.
I'm still blessed with skinny hands, so I can still get into Pringle tube. Not ring.
That's why we bring you on heists, dear.
Yep. I've got small hands, good for thieving.
Good for thieving and sexy heists.
Sexy heists.
Sexy crimes.
Sexy crimes. There is a comic book series called Sex Crimes, which is brilliant.
Yeah, but they're not.
These two guys have these two people meet each other, have sex, and time freezes for half an hour, so they become bank robbers.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, it's good. It's very good.
Oh man, do we need to do a comics for Paul?
I recommend. I do recommend Sex Criminal.
Oh man, I'm still working through a couple of ones you gave. Anyway,
no worries.
More importantly, though, Return of the Jedi. All of this stuff happening to Dante, all of his trials and tribulations, not quite as important as I'll call it the Tarantino conversation, because I don't know which one came first. Tarantino had talk about hamburgers.
Oh, that's Pulp Fiction.
That's Pulp Fiction, yeah.
Which is 94 as well. So Reservoir Dogs would have come out at this point, so it would have been the Madonna conversation.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Also, I haven't seen that.
You've never seen Reservoir?
No, it's on the list.
Oh yeah, no, you'll love Reservoir. Have you seen Pulp Fiction?
I've seen Pulp Fiction. Yeah.
It's a similar kinship to that. It's just it's that conversation that certain nerds have had over time. Is like all the people that were working on the second Death Star.
Yeah, they're contractors. They do not even the Empire. Imperial Empire doesn't even have that much manpower.
Do you think a stormtrooper knows how to fix a water main?
No, I don't. I also am confused about why they would need a roofer inside the Death Star or an aluminum cider.
He's a contractor, and he gives his story about nearly working for the mob, and his friend got the job and got killed.
Yeah, literally another character appears and says, "Hey, listen, excuse me. So to this quandary of were they innocent victims on the Death Star or were they not innocent victims to the Death Star? Yeah, we understand who we're working for. You get that, right? We choose who we work for.
Mm-hmm.
And, you gotta understand that, right? You choose your own destiny. And that's a theme that on the second watch through, because again, the way that I watch these is I watch it once just for fun, in my case last night. And then today afternoon, we're recording this. I've watched it again this morning and I took notes and wrote jokes, right?
Yeah.
Because it's important to me to get the honest, just like I'm going to make some popcorn and enjoy it.
Yeah. I saw your bucket downstairs.
My bucket.
Yeah. There was a popcorn bucket on your side.
Oh, yes. I like popcorn a bit too much. It's a problem.
That's all right, man. People at my old work were obsessed with it, but the skinny popcorn, their calorie counters and how much sin points food is worth. I learned a lot about the food I was eating.
Yeah, I mean, I may or may not have added like 100 grams of butter to it.
Good boy. It makes sense.
I never do this. I do this for the show and that. Anyway,
right.
My eating habits aside, oh God, I'm eating out of a bucket. What is my problem in life?
No, it's not as good as It Crowd when he's like a bucket of fried chicken and it's an actual bucket, not like a cardboard bucket.
I haven't really watched that show, but I like that joke. They Return of the Jedi. They have a whole conversation about this, and I like this kind of conversation in a movie as bits of characterization and theming, because the theming of the conversation is a microcosm for the whole film, isn't it? Because it's all about who is the one making your choices for you, who is in charge of, who is at fault for the situation you're in. Did the contractors on the Death Star choose to be there, or were they unwitting pawns in something? I mean, for my money, personal opinion, I mean, what do you reckon about that? Are they innocent? And
I go with the contractors. Like, you choose if the Empire asked me, say I was a contractor, I'm good at shield generators, just as a pull from, because it's relative.
The Empire needs a podcast.
Yeah.
Carl, get over here.
No, it's the Nazi party. No, there are Star Wars podcasts, trust me, in the
No, but I mean, like, literally,
for the Empire
calls you up.
No, I wouldn't do
it.
Wouldn't do it.
Carl of Tatooine.
Nah. I'm more a Bespin kind of guy. Cloud City
for life.
Lando. Sorry.
I mean, you're not wrong, but whatever.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I thought about it. I'm like, I don't know, man. The Imperial Empire, what's the chance that those were slave labor, though? Right? Are those contractors, or are those
they're not using clones at that point.
How much choice do they really have, though? Is this like the Empire requires you to do work, your family
you willingly
dies?
Join the Empire. It's as proven in Solo. You join the Empire. It's not like you're recruited, and it's not like the First Order where they abduct you as children.
I guess so. Yeah. Yeah, in that case, I'm with you. I was just trying to figure, is there another angle to it? Is this like effectively, is this de facto forced labor because like this not doing it is like, let's not work for the Roman Empire. Okay, we're going to invade your town next week.
Yeah.
Okay.
There could have been a bit of that, but I think it is more that I've seen. This is also just, Kevin's also going by the extended universe.
In the extended universe.
Yeah. But, because this is pre-prequels.
Yeah,
this is years. This is
way
5 years prequel.
Yeah, first prequel was 98, 99. Winter 98, was that right?
No, 99.
Oh, was it? Okay, yeah. It was summer 99.
Summer 99.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
98. The winter 98's the when the guy who was dying of cancer broke into Skywalker Ranch to watch the print, which was adapted into the movie Fanboys.
It was before the dark times.
Yeah, but with the last line of Fanboys. But wait, what if the movie sucks?
No,
it
can't possibly. Not with Saint Lucas. Not with Saint Lucas of Pasadena.
He's never done us wrong.
Where is Skywalker Ranch?
I don't know. It's in California.
Yeah, Saint George of
Skywalker Ranch.
Saint George of Skywalker.
Interesting fact. That's what Kevin Smith got married to his wife. Was at Skywalker Ranch when he was doing the mixing for Dogma or Chasing Amy.
Side note, that is a bucket list studio.
Oh, yeah.
That is a beautiful studio. I'd love to do some work there someday.
Yeah.
So if you're listening, George Lucas, I'll have a t-shirt.
I think he's got enough to spare. Man's a merch machine.
Carl?
Yes?
Are these movies any good?
Yes. Oh, God, yes. Oh, God. The list, the woman who's trying to get Happy Scrappy Hero pup.
They never tell you on the box.
No.
Whether it's any good.
Yeah. What about this one? Yeah, it's great. It's the exact same movie. You haven't looked up from your paper.
No, I have not. No, it's a great scene because it's just like we've all had customers like that. If you've ever worked retail and you haven't seen this movie, or you know somebody who's,
it's one of those films. When I started in retail, I recommended people to watch.
I see. I worked retail for about 5 years, and I kind of wish I'd seen this during then, because maybe I would have wasted a lot fewer years in retail. Maybe there's that.
I saw it I saw it when I was 6. So my first year in retail, and I was still in retail till I was 23. But I was very much more embittered in the last 4 years.
I was more jaded.
I think it was more because I worked in a kids' toy shop.
Yeah,
and kids can as much. I adore. I think kids are great. They're the future. But kids, when they want a toy and you don't have the toy, and you're the man who's supposed to have the toy, you don't want to be that guy, especially at Christmas. I've ruined 14 kids' Christmases, personally, because I didn't have the toy.
For those of you not playing at home, Carl is smiling like the Grinch. I'm pretty sure his heart just shrank 3 sizes. Oh,
I told kids that there was no Santa. I'm not proud of it, but I did it.
Jesus Christ, mate.
Yeah, I was again bitter.
That's pretty bad, man.
I'm not proud of it.
That's pretty bad.
I'm not proud of it.
I mean, you shouldn't be, but also I'm glad you're not there anymore.
Yeah, so am I.
Both in that place mentally and also in that place physically, because whatever.
Well, it's not there anymore. Any of the...
Evidently, good! So this guy's going through all the eggs, looking for the perfect dozen.
Yes.
Which, again, heavy-handed theming that I somehow didn't pick up on in the first watch through. This is the genius of this movie. There's so much vulgarity and crap and swearing and talk about weird sex stuff. And then the least weird thing is the weird guy going through the eggs on the floor and smashing them against the window.
Doing stress tests.
And stress testing them in his mouth. But somehow it's like, he's just looking for the perfect dozen. Well, why doesn't he just mix and match? Well, I told him that, but whatever. Dante told him this.
Yeah.
Unironically, Dante said, well, why are you looking for the perfect 12 things in a row instead of just appreciating that you could get 12 things from different packs and putting them together and making yourself a cool... This could very well have been the moment where Dante clocks on and goes, oh, right.
Nope.
Because my own life. Except he's got some hells.
Yeah.
He's got a couple of circles of hell.
But then you also meet the woman who explains it to him that she's most probably a school guidance counselor.
Why guidance counselor, Carl?
Because
if your job was as meaningless as theirs, wouldn't you go crazy too?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you, Dante? Is this too on the nose?
And then, of course, she said, at least my job's worthwhile. I artificially inseminate animals.
No, she doesn't. No, she manually masturbates caged animals for artificial insemination.
Yeah.
This is evidently an important job.
She's an animal whacker.
Let's be clear, that's actually really important work.
Oh, yeah.
Like, legitimately, it's funny.
But holding a Slim Jim?
You're right, yeah. She's holding a Slim Jim while she does it, which is, like, the funny bit.
Yeah.
But like, as an avid conservationist, I'm like, well, that's sort of that's part of the work. That is legitimately, I feel like if you are whacking off a tiger, you deserve an extra pay for that. Somebody should be buying you supper.
That actress was Kevin Smith's sister.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's going to be an awkward day on set.
No, she was on board. She asked to play the role.
Oh, that's even funnier.
Don't worry, you'll see his mum shortly.
Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't realize that was...
I'll let you guess if you can guess who Kevin Smith's mum is in the movie.
Okay.
Continue going on.
So, Randall unknowingly sells cigarettes...
Oh, yeah, because he's not paying attention.
To a tiny, tiny child.
It's an 8-year-old?
4-year-old, they say.
Oh, 4-year-old.
Like a fucking 4-year-old. Without watching, he just sort of goes, yeah, here you go. He's reading a porno, probably. That's what he's about.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, like, this is the part where it's like, Randall's so funny, whatever. And no, Randall just did a legitimately evil thing through negligence and inattention.
Mm-hmm.
He probably should have been paying some attention.
Oh, yeah, but nope.
No, Randall doesn't care about that. He doesn't care. He's insouciant to the point of harming children. That's the part where I'm like, oh, actually, is this guy all that? I don't know, man.
Yeah.
He's still cool and everything, but, he does some...
I think it was a controversial thing to put into the movie. I think it was something that Kevin Smith put in to grab attention.
I get it to a certain extent. It does sort of...
Yeah, it's hardly brought up in arguments. And like, up... Like,
They bring it up once in an argument in the film.
No. What I mean is, like, later on in the film it has purpose, but I've never heard anybody have an argument about it.
I think Randall's character, it kind of works for him because it's like it avoids the Beavis and Butthead problem where that's glorified to a certain extent, where it's like you're not just 90s insouciant because it's cool and edgy and whatever else, and look at my Doc Martens and look at my style, and I don't care. Because for a while in the 90s, that was every sitcom had a character like that, and everyone was like, oh man, that guy's so cool, right? Being an edgelord, children, for a while was legitimately cool.
It was.
Don't judge us.
It was.
So it's interesting to me that they make him they make him do something through his insouciance, which is legitimately evil.
But it's only to bite Dante in the arse later on.
It is.
It's part of making this the worst day in Dante's life.
It is part of that, but it's interesting as well that it does end up characterizing Randall a bit in a negative, saying, well, this insouciance, it might be cool and everything, and yeah, we like the guy, and he is played as like the cool older brother almost in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But he's the cool older brother who still sold cigarettes to a 4-year-old.
Yeah, but
like he did a shitty thing, and it's nice to see that humanity in it, where it's not only like, oh man, Beavis and Butthead are so cool, I want to be like that. You don't want to be like Randall. You don't want to be like anybody in this movie, really. Yeah. With the exception maybe of Veronica. She's kind of great.
Yeah, Caitlin's kind of cool. Except what happens to her.
Caitlin as a person, I mean, she does cheat on people a lot.
Yeah.
You don't really want to be like that. And Veronica sucks 36 dicks. 37. Including him.
Yeah. And
what's nice is that everybody
no one else since. She does make that point very clear.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, all I mean is every character seems to have a lot going on internally. They seem to be real people in a way that's, I don't know, maybe we're avoiding in current storytelling in a lot of ways, right? Like every time I see a movie now, it's like, and this is the perfectly perfect person who you're supposed to root for, and this is the evil person who I'm like,
yeah, characters don't have as much edge. I mean,
forget even edge, just humanity to them.
Yeah, well, it's just because I think in the way the world has gone, I think escapism is more.
Does that mean we need
warranted?
Every movie to be children's movie? Kind of.
No, I'm not saying it's
naive in the sort of here's the good guy, here's the bad guy.
I just think in the way the world is, I just think we just need, with the blurred lines between who are the good guys and the bad guys, I just think people prefer it at the moment.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. In any event, I found it nice to like a character who is nonetheless quite problematic in his behavior a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Right?
But Randall sells cigarettes.
Yeah, he sells the cigarettes to a little kid. This is definitely not going to come back and bite them in the ass around about the climax of Act 2.
Yes.
That's never going to happen.
Nope.
Is it, Carl?
Not going to happen.
Randall hates everyone at the movie store.
Yes.
What would you get? Let me ask you these questions, Carl. What would you get for a 6-year-old boy who chronically wets the bed?
Oh, this is a joke I used to throw out in every situation working in the early learning center when they asked to give a situation.
Yeah, but what movie actually? If I'm legitimately asking this question,
who chronically wets his bed?
Yeah.
Waterworld.
Right, because you're an evil man who does evil things.
Yes.
So, do you have any new movies in?
Signs advertising new movies.
She's directly under a sign
that says new movies.
Yeah. That one I have patience for because I've done it. I've literally asked someone, hey, sorry, where is the bus stop while I'm standing next to the bus stop?
Yeah, we've all been there. You can't see for looking.
It's a little bit, yeah. Until you get rid of all those trees, it's really hard to see all those trees.
Yeah, can't see the wood for the trees.
That's the one.
Yeah.
I kind of almost. That's fine.
I
fucked up.
I knew what you meant.
Anyway, so do you have that one with that guy who was in that movie that was out last year?
That is a similar question to as a DJ that I get is, do you have that song by that band that was on that soundtrack?
You know, the one that came out that time.
Yeah.
By those people?
And that's when I play another Refuse song by Real Big Fish. Which is,
I mean, I feel like that's where you rickroll them, though.
Fuck women, fuck crying, fuck laughing, fuck dying, fuck this song, but mostly fuck you.
That's a good one. I would just play anything by Rick Astley because the man is great.
Or So What by either Anti-Nowhere League or the Metallica cover.
I mean, you're going completely aggressive. I'm going like I would I would interrupt an otherwise completely heavy metal thing to be like, okay, I'm going to play a Fred Rogers song from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood and point at that guy going, it's him. He recommended.
No, I have songs set up and the bar staff know if I'm playing that song, it's because someone's pissing me off.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So do they know then to come and pat you gently on the head?
No, it means Cole's taking a left turn. Check out the guy who's pissing him off because he's mostly a drunken asshole.
Yeah, he's the kind of guy who's...
I'm tolerant to a point, but it's people that will come up and ask for, while I'm playing Rammstein, will ask if I have Nightwish or Nirvana. It's just like, read the room.
I feel like there's a lot of people who don't understand what DJs do anyway.
No, they want a jukebox.
Yeah, DJ is not a jukebox, fellas. No. Unless you are doing a specific DJ jukebox, which does exist.
Yeah,
those events happen. Go to those.
Which is happening next Saturday at the ship for the Heroes and Villains. Matt Church is doing a jukebox
Subtle
DJ night.
Plug.
But all the money raised from that night goes towards GeekCon 2020.
Yes, which is definitely happening. We have anything to say about it.
It's happening. It is happening.
Woot.
But
hey, Navy SEALs.
Navy SEALs!
That's a great... is it bad that I would absolutely watch a movie just called Navy SEALs?
There is a film called Navy SEALs.
Well, we're adding it to the list.
Well, yeah. The one he wanted to put in there was Young Guns 2. Because there was a guy who, ever since it came out in the cinemas, RST would come in every week and ask when Young Guns 2 was coming out. Not Young Guns, like Young Guns 2, the less successful sequel. It got to the point where the day of the release of Young Guns, they only had one copy, and Brian Johnson gave it to the first person who came into the store before he came in. Just to spite him.
Well, that's petty. I love it.
Yeah. Then it's caused the stupid questions that Dante gets.
Yeah, Dante at the convenience store. What do you mean there's no ice? You mean I gotta drink this coffee hot?
Which makes no sense to people nowadays because cold brew is a thing.
Yeah, because you can literally just get iced coffee.
Yeah, whereas at the time, iced coffee wasn't really a thing.
At the time, the word barista was invented in 2016.
Starbucks wasn't a thing. Starbucks was literally rolling out across America at that point.
Yeah, I mean, 94, there were some Starbucks, because I think they started in Seattle
92.
in 92, so they were starting to get some success, enough that in, I think, 95 or thereabouts, The Simpsons were joking about the rapid expansion of Starbucks.
Yeah. It's the joke of, of course, coffee leads to sex, that's why there's a Starbucks on every corner.
That's pretty good.
But
so the convenience store customers are that, and so how much is this thing? It's the same girl who is asking new movies. I like that it's the same two customers. I really do. I know, it's literally the same two customers in both stores. So these two guys are unwittingly bitching about the same 2 or 3 people.
Yeah.
Which, again, small town stuff, it's just like that.
Hey, do you guys retire Cupcakes? Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Dante, what's wrong? My ex-girlfriend is getting married.
Yeah.
So Dante is... this is about the part in my second watch through where I was like, so is he just Jerry Seinfeld? Does he think he's in a sitcom? Because his delivery is like, hey, what's the problem? Oh, here, let me vomit the topic of today's episode at you.
Yeah, no, it's just I think he's just so exhausted with life that he's just putting it all on Front Street.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, he does seem like a sitcom main character who's been dropped into a real life situation and is trying to behave as if he's in a sitcom.
Well, a lot of people say that Clerks could be performed as a play, and it's very much a playish dialogue because you have to keep reminding people of the themes because there's not a lot of existentialism or existential shots or anything.
Existential shots.
I mean, and there's nothing. There's literally you got to remind people of the world you're in because it's constantly
in dialogue or visually.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Existentially, I'm like, so I have to consider the meaning of everything at all times. Drown in it.
Yes.
I've caught him a couple of times. I don't have specific examples. I wish I did. Where he sort of seems to intone like Seinfeld. So I thought maybe they're deal? Well, exactly.
Well, Seinfeld was airing at that point.
Yeah, Seinfeld was super popular, right? It was the biggest show around in '94. So I wouldn't be surprised. Like, down to the sweater. Down to the sweater.
Yeah.
Right? Like everything about this, it seems to me that it's like an evocation if it's not a direct reference.
I think it's just an infliction. I think he drew from Seinfeld because it was the thing at the time.
Yeah, maybe. But I think there's something to this idea that he thinks everything is like a sitcom and everyone else around him is like, no, dude, Dante, what the no, it's not like a sitcom. It's not like that. Sitcoms are not real.
Mm-hmm.
right? But it's subtext in a lot of ways. Just he behaves as, and it's right down to, so, hey, what's the problem? Well, my ex-girlfriend's getting married, and I shouldn't even be here today. That could be a sitcom line.
Yeah.
And that recurs.
It is his catchphrase.
It is, right? But that doesn't strike you at all as like that could be in
and Randall's is, you don't know how much the average jizz mopper makes an hour?
I mean, he only says that once. Is that a catchphrase?
To me, it is. Because wrangling can't be a catchphrase.
Randling is a verb now.
Wrangling, sorry.
I know, I got it, but randling is now a verb. We're just sticking with that.
Yes. Anything that comes out of Dan's mouth is randling.
Yeah. So, in response to, I'm not even supposed to be here today again, well, the reason he's here today is because he buckled.
Yeah.
This whole sequence, I think, dialogue delivery-wise, was one of the strongest in the whole movie. It's
your day off. You didn't tell the boss man to go do himself. You just automatically said, yes, you're coming in. Well, he's coming in at midday. He's coming in at 12.
At 1 or something.
Yeah, so I can go play hockey. It's just like...
Yeah, like he's got a game at 2, and he said to the boss, listen, I can make it until 1, and after that I have to go, right? So real talk, past 1, when he hears that the boss is in Vermont...
Yeah.
Why does he not just say, all right, well, I guess I'll close the shop at 1?
Because he knows it's not worth the aggro he's going to get from his boss, so he decides to stay there the entire day.
Guess.
Also, it's money. I'm guessing.
It doesn't feel like money to me. It feels like he's got a misplaced sense of duty and obligation to this job, right? Because he feels that because he's got this title, because he's a clerk, he has to behave like a clerk, right?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's just one of those things that he just knows the store's got to be open. It's not worth the aggravation.
Well, this is it, yeah, but it comes up again where it's like, well, so the worst thing that happens if you close the shop is people don't get to shop at the convenience store for a couple hours. Right? Like, how awful is that, right? And the boss whose responsibility ultimately it is they're the manager of the store, they're maybe the owner of the store, who even knows? They never appear on screen.
Well, basically, Randall's going in between the shop. He's supposed to go through RST and Clerks, depending on how busy he went. But he keeps closing the video store just to hang out in the
convenience
quick
store.
Stop, yeah.
Well, this is it. I think maybe Randall's not quite responsible enough.
No,
he doesn't feel any obligation to his job or the people paying him to do a thing. Whereas Dante feels too much obligation because, like, well, I have to, my. Like military style almost. Well, the commanding officer might have his reasons, and I'm going to stand here because that's my job. And I think we've all sort of fell into that trap at one point.
Yeah, 100%.
Misplaced duty and whatnot. I really think that's what it is. And
I once came in to cover a shift on my 2-week holiday. Like they just out of a missense place of oh no, the shop was not busy enough to even warrant me being there.
Yeah. They just had to do something or whatever. Yeah. I think, therefore, timidity is Dante's 4th circle of hell. The second he's confronted with something or somebody wants something that is opposed to what he wants, he buckles and goes, oh, listen, I don't feel like conflict, right?
I was very much like that for a very long period of time. Yeah. That's one of the reasons I identify with Dante more than Randall. Randall more for the quippiness because I'm good with a quip, but again...
You are the quippiest here.
But I identify with Dante so much because I was like that for a very, very long time of my life, especially in my work life, definitely when I was in retail because I was part-time. If I wasn't showing that I wanted to work, I wasn't given hours.
Yeah. And
though I was part-time, I worked pretty much a full-time schedule. Like I was doing 5 to 6 days a week. But again, sometimes they were short shifts or like 3 till 7, just like 4 hours, just so someone was there to do the late night.
Yeah,
I did every single Sunday when I wasn't on holiday because they gave me the faux, not real title of Sunday supervisor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've been there. Definitely been there.
But let's get on with this movie.
It is a good movie. I'm enjoying it so far. Around this point this is about an hour into an hour and a half movie, more or less.
Yeah, there's not much.
They spend 2/3 of the movie in Act 1, which is in any other thing, I'd say, I don't know, guys, that's a long time to spend establishing character. But the characters,
well, the morning it's kind of what a day in retail is. The morning kind of drags.
I guess it's sort of, I don't
Until
know if
all
that was
lunch-
deliberate. Yeah, that's a good
Until about lunchtime when people start coming in and getting stuff, and then it picks up. And in the afternoon, it generally is busier because people are out and about having on their day, or in a convenience store present. Oh, I've got to grab this on the way home, or I'm grabbing this so I can cook lunch.
Yeah. I wonder if that was deliberate.
No, Kevin.
Oh, you reckon?
Huh. He has got. And
so
I could throw you tons of stuff where he talks about. He's gone very in depth about the filmmaking about this. There's even a movie about the making of Clerks now.
Oh, wow.
It was done by a couple of Scottish lads like a couple of years ago.
Oh, okay.
And they adapted parts of Me and My Shadow, which was Kevin's story about Jay and his heroin addiction, which was about Jay being obsessed with finding Boba Fett action figures from the limited Star Wars range in the mid-90s. Like going out and going to like Toys R Us and thing and just stealing the Boba Fetts and giving them to Walt Flanagan to sell in Jay and Silent Bob's secret stash.
Oh.
Yeah. There's a lot of it. It's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. Huh. Kevin Smith's podcasting has opened up the world of behind viewer skew a lot. So there's a lot of stories. Right. But let's move on with the film. So where are we at now?
Well, the old guy comes in and wants to use the bathroom.
Yes.
Which is, that's the old guy wants to use the bathroom. Whatever. Let him use the bathroom. Perfectly fine. That's not buckling.
He's going to be in and out.
On the other hand, he comes back 30 seconds later and he says, "Hey, so what kind of toilet paper do you have in there? Is it the rough stuff or is it the smooth stuff, like the real soft, lovely things?" And I'm like, it's a bit rough.
Yeah, it's not. It's.
It's going to be tough on the hemorrhoids.
Yeah. And of course, he was nice enough to give the old guy.
At this point, he's going above and beyond.
Yeah,
he just bought the dude some toilet paper.
Yeah.
And like what? And again, I could maybe say, open up the pack of toilet paper. Your employees should have nice toilet paper. That's fine. Just make the decision. You're the manager today.
Worst comes to worst, he gives him the roll. He real seals up the pack. He sells off the additional rolls for a discounted price.
Yeah. You're at work. You're going to use them.
Yeah.
Right. That's fine. Also, last one is a little less reasonable.
He asks for some reading material for the bathroom, which give him a free paper, give him something. Because if he's going,
it's 94. There are no free papers.
If he's taking the Browns to the Super Bowl, well, local paper. Well,
that's one way of putting what he's intending to do, because he wants a very different kind of magazine.
No. I was just saying, but he wants one of the magazines from the top shelf.
From the top shelf behind that little plastic curtain that you have to put over it.
Yep.
From the back, though. And not that one that he hands him, the other one. Like, this is...
He's already read that one.
This is Choosing Beggars 101.
We're dancing around it. He's asking for a pornographic magazine.
He is.
He's asking for an adult magazine.
He wants to have a jolly old time in the back room.
He wants to take Fummy and her 4 friends to the Super Bowl. Uh-huh. Well, basically, he's having a wank.
Carl, you filthy, filthy languaged boy. You can't say that on the internet.
All right, the
censors are going to get after us.
He's about to rub one out.
The Chinese have opinions about this, and so do the Russians.
He's about to bash the bishop. He's about to spank the monkey.
No, you can't say that. It's anti-religious. Also anti-monkey. Then they have an oddly... So, I mean, he lets him go to the bathroom, whatever. And then Randall comes back and have... what do they have a discussion about? Title dictates behavior is what I've got.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Title dictates behavior, but not for Randall. Randall is the master of his own destiny.
Basically, this is Randall basically saying, title does not dictate behavior. If I want to go and do something, I'm going to go do something.
The fact that you're a clerk doesn't mean that you must, in all cases, behave like a clerk. You dictate your own behavior, and if your employer wants to do something about it, they can.
Yeah. But he's one of those guys, like, because he has shown very much through this movie, he will just shut the shop to go and hang with his friend.
Well, yeah, sure. And as we see a little bit later, so will Dante for the right reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Well...
Actually, did we skip over that bit?
No, with Julie Dwyer's now.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Julie Dwyer they find out a friend they went to high school, one of the illustrious 12 of Dante's...
former
lovers, had died.
Yeah. Embolism.
Yes. As expanded upon in Mallrats, she was about to appear she was due to appear on a dating show called Truth or Date. She was told by a friend of a friend that the camera adds £10, so she decides to go to the YMCA and hit laps to lose some weight. And on her 80th, 50th lap, embolism pops in her brain, and she just falls dead.
Yeah, they'll do it.
Yeah.
That's a tough way to go.
So they decide to lock up the store and go to the funeral.
Yeah, well, Dante wants to.
Yeah.
But
Randall...
It's unclear why in a lot of ways, because like, oh, well, we gotta go. Well, yeah, but you don't
I think he
care
just wants to
about
pay respects, and it's an excuse for him to get out of the store. Randall...
I think he's just got this sense of misplaced duty. Like, he feels like he ought to, so he must, right? He's letting outside circumstances dictate what he does and decisions he makes. He'd prefer for a duty or an obligation to give him an out, effectively, to make the decision for him, because he will not make a goddamn decision on his own.
No. But Randall hates people but loves gatherings.
Ironic, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's some of these lines that are just the best I've ever heard anywhere.
Yeah.
In any film.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Highly quotable movie. There is a lost scene where they actually show what happens at the funeral.
Yeah, it turns out Randall wrecks the funeral.
Yeah. Knocks the coffin over and the body falls out.
Ugh, could you imagine? I would probably be not terribly impressed with him either.
No. They go back to the store. It's about the time of the hockey game.
Was the hockey game first?
I think we got this the wrong way around.
We got this the wrong way around.
Yeah, so it's the hockey game first.
Oh, man, we missed all kinds of stuff. We got mixed up in talking about our own lives.
Yeah. It's all right.
Which are definitely...
It's all right.
I don't think my life is more interesting than Clerks,
right.
but maybe that's the point.
Dante decides that they're going to play hockey on the roof. So...
Well, there's one little bit before this that I think is worth noting. Let's move back just a little bit. So the ex-girlfriend's getting married, everything's whatever, they're still in the convenience store, and after Randall and Veronica have had this big fight where Randall, Veronica, and Dante.
Dante and Randall. Dante and Veronica.
No, Veronica and Dante.
Yeah, Dante and Veronica.
There's only 6 characters. How are we messing up? Anyway, I say I'm messing it up.
A lot of additional characters being replayed by same actors in certain positions. But
yeah, I mean, in a way, I'm not too worried about getting these two events mixed up in order, because these two are pretty much interchangeable in terms of timing. Because Veronica shows up bringing Dante lunch of leftover lasagna.
A whole tray of lasagna. Is it
a whole tray? It looks like a whole tray of lasagna.
It's like, I've taken lasagna to work before, but I've taken like a quarter of a dish.
Have you ever had somebody bring you lunch at work?
One ex-girlfriend, my first girlfriend, did once bring me lunch at work.
And did you immediately love her more? Because, like, that's the sort of thing where I'm like, well, this is the one, right? She brought me lasagna. Jesus, like, I'm a simple man. I am effectively a human.
If it happened again, more than likely, but I doubt in this day and age it would.
Yeah, I feel like I wouldn't let you in the building if you don't have 6 passes.
Someone might, Uber Eats you lunch. Yeah.
Which, again, I would be like, oh, man, that's super sweet.
That'd be nice. But
no one ever buys me anything.
Aw.
Guys, if you're listening...
Here's an energy drink I bought you, Paul.
Oh, no way, actually.
Yeah, if you want.
I hate these, thanks.
Yeah.
I'm going to drink it anyway.
All right.
Because you got it.
All right, no worries. Enjoy.
Certainly will.
It has more caffeine than your normal energy
I'm going to count on you to tell us about the hockey game.
All right, so they go... It's the hockey game on the roof, all of his friends. One guy is insistent on like, busting out the Gatorade, so everybody gets a drink and everything.
And again, Dante caves.
They start playing on the roof and everything.
I love the rationale behind this. It's like, well, I have to go to my hockey game, and my boss is requiring me to be at work.
Yeah.
So, you know what? He never told me not to play hockey at work. So we're not going to play in the street. We're not going to play in the parking lot. We're going to play on the roof.
And it also features the only special effect in this entire movie.
How special is the effect, Carl?
It's not that special.
Describe the effect.
Basically, a guy comes up to the roof saying that they should open up the store. That Dante can't play hockey. Two guys are downstairs. Pardon me. 2 guys are downstairs. One of them they're both played by Scott Mosier, who is the producer. So Scott's looking down when Snowball shouts out, "Yeah, you open." The guy who shouts back at him, "No," is the same actor.
Oh.
So literally, that's the only special effect in this entire movie.
That the guy who shouts back
is the same guy.
Is the same guy who's
on the roof. They're playing 2 different roles.
Oh.
Yeah, because he's normal Scott Mosier, not bearded.
I feel like that's not a special effect.
It's Kevin Smith quotes it as the only special effect.
It's not really an effect, though. It's just putting the same guy in shot twice.
Yeah, but it's an effect because he's up the ladder and he's down there.
I guess in the loose sense of special effects, but yeah, okay, I'll give it to him.
Yeah.
If
Again,
Kevin Smith considers it, then that's good enough for me.
Yeah. But the match is over because they only bought one ball and the ball automatically goes into a gutter.
Who in the world wraps a hockey stick, first of all, like that, and second of all, with electrical tape?
Again, it was what they had at the time, and it was Kevin Smith's old gear from when he used to play hockey.
No, I got it, but at the same time, I'm watching them sort of badly wrap a stick, and I'm like, oh my god.
Dante's
that offends me as a Canadian.
Randall did play hockey in high school, but Dante never did. He never played hockey, so he wasn't taught how to properly...
I thought he did.
No, not the actor who played
Oh, I
Dante.
see. Yeah. I thought in the character...
No, in character, they both play hockey.
Yeah, okay.
But no, in real life, the actor Jeff Anderson and Brian O'Halloran, who plays Dante, had never played hockey. He was an actor. He was
a
theater kid.
But yes, just little hockey details like that,
and who only brings one ball to practice.
That is shockingly common, actually.
Really?
Right? Well, normally it's like street hockey. You sort of, if you're going to a street hockey game, normally you want to bring a ball or two yourself. No matter who said I'll bring the ball. They're cheap. You buy them at the dollar store. Christ, bring a couple of bad ones and then the good one in case one does go off somewhere. Yeah. Right.
But unfortunately, they only brought the one.
Yeah. That's weird.
Which ended the game after 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Which isn't even 12 minutes, which isn't even a warm up.
12 minutes is not a long amount of time. Then it's not even a full shift.
So they goes back, opens up the store, and then that's when they are informed that all the Gatorade's gone.
Yeah, all the Gatorade's gone because all of the players being told, like, oh yeah, grab a Gatorade. And that was, hashtag not sponsored. We're not actually sponsored by any of these companies. And I'm pretty sure Kevin Smith wasn't getting a kickback from Gatorade in the 90s either.
But again, it was a common enough term that, again, this was an indie movie. It wasn't, Miramax reached out and Gatorade were cool with it because they don't actually show the product.
Yeah.
They only mention it by name.
So, continuing the sitcom setup, not only was Dante not supposed to be in today, and his ex-girlfriend is getting married, he's out of shape.
Yep.
And through a series of hijinks is being accused of selling cigarettes to a 4-year-old, which of course he did not do, but Randall did while he was in charge of the store.
Yes.
Which means that ultimately he gets a $500 fine.
And has to appear in court.
No, the way that's a weird bit in this movie. That's the only bit where I'm like, pedantic man needs to have a word with the writers because in the legal universe. When he says this cannot be disputed in court, you got a fine. You can dispute it in court if you believe that you were not at fault. If another party was at fault, for example, or you can always dispute it in court. That's why we have courts. Otherwise, we wouldn't have courts. We would just have police.
Yes.
Right? That's it. So that's a little bit of whatever, but I guess in the movie they didn't want to give him an out.
Basically, it's another example of the universe as Dante sees it crapping on him.
Exactly, right? So even if I'm okay calling this not legal phrasing, but Dante's interpretation in the moment of what was being said to him. Like, I have no recourse for this, even if in reality,
but he's also
a lawyer.
He's got Rick, a former lover of Caitlin as well, telling him that.
Have you ever seen a more stereotypical jock?
Yeah.
Have you've seen a more stereotypical jock than this man?
Yeah, Hulk Hogan.
Okay, fair enough. Have you seen any other?
No.
Because this is pretty.
As the movie stereotypes go, it's pretty.
It's on the nose.
It's pretty on the nose.
It's played completely on the nose.
To be.
I know, I got that,
and including the affectionate girl like cooing next to him.
Yeah, who happens to be Caitlin's sister.
Yeah.
Right, and then they go off hey, can I give you a ride somewhere? How about the beach? I like the way you think.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced that kind of thing has ever happened to anyone, but okay, I'll let it slide this time because again, I'm happy to read this as Dante's internal voice sort of changing the narrative somewhat around him.
Yeah.
I'm okay calling this his perception of what's happening.
A lot of people thought this film was filmed with the security cameras in the store. It's not. It was filmed with a proper film, but
yeah, I mean, this was filmed in was this Super 16, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Super 16 in black and white for budget reasons, as I understand it.
Yes.
it ends up working.
It does 100% work.
It ends up really working well. There's a couple of scenes that really use the black and white well. I don't think we've seen any of them yet. But this is where Dave Klein really, I started being like, okay, this guy knows what he's doing.
Well, he's gone on to do much more bigger movies since.
Well, of course, yeah, but in '94 he knew what he was doing. Is all I'm saying, right? Like even before
he's been a talented DP for years.
You call it DP?
Yeah, director of production.
Director of photography normally, but I thought in the UK you called it DOP.
I was learnt more from the American side of things. So I go with DP. And shockingly, I can say that without giggling like a schoolgirl.
That's why the British say DOP. Just saying.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, it's more of this sort of sitcom setup. What kind of wacky shenanigans will happen next? I'm like, and it's nice that they do the setup and then everyone just plays it like, no, dude, it's real life. You know what this really reminds me of is Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Yeah.
That seems to have taken a lot of cues from Clerks.
Edgar Wright is in one of he said in interviews one of his influences when he started out as a movie maker was Kevin Smith.
I definitely see it,
and him and Edgar have like done interviews and stuff because Kevin had a podcast where he sat down with directors for a while.
Oh yeah,
and he did interview Edgar Wright.
Well, it doesn't surprise me.
Kevin and Nick Frost and Simon Pegg were huge fans of Kevin Smith, even asking questions at a Q&A before they were famous. So they've loved him for years as well.
I'm definitely getting the not very nice protagonist, right? Because Dante is not a good person in a lot of ways.
No,
we like him, but he's a bit of an ass.
Yeah, but we identify him because we're all a bit that age. So. We were all a bit of an ass.
I think if you're 22, it's part of the territory. But at the same time, it's in the same way that Scott Pilgrim has this guy who's a bit self-absorbed in his own universe. You've got this guy who's got a lot of the same problems, though not timidity, I don't think, in Scott Pilgrim's case. But, he's a bit self-absorbed. He's into his own head. He chooses to see things only through his own lens and doesn't try even to consider other people.
Yeah.
It's definitely giving me shades of that, and I loved Scott Pilgrim. I was trying to put my finger on, like, why do I like this? This is really... It seems like everything I don't like about bad movies, but I really like it.
Yeah, Brian O'Malley did a really good job with Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the book series. But
yeah, the comic books were also great.
Yeah.
I read those just a little bit before the movie came out, actually. Or the ones that were out at the time.
I was recommended it when I went to the States. I bought Volume 1 for the flight over, and when I was over there, I bought 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 hadn't come out at that point.
Maybe it's just they're both Canadian. Here's the thing, right? Kevin Smith, I believe, is also
born and raised in New Jersey.
We're claiming him anyway.
Oh no, you can. He went to Canada once, and when he got stopped at the airport, and when he was on his tour bus days, and they found weed. Obviously, you don't need to bring weed to Canada, but it was found, a little container was found that he hid when his kid was bringing her friends onto the bus, and he forgot about.
So yeah, we're claiming him. Let's be clear.
No, but they went, we're not going to stop you coming from Canada because you're a great asset to Canada. And he went, can you put that in a letter and send it to my mum?
Did they?
Yeah, no, but...
Oh, man.
He was just like one of those things. It's just like, you never hear that. You never expect to hear something like that in your life. You're a great asset to a country.
Well, I mean, honestly, being Canadian, I'll tell you, there's like an ongoing Canadian joke, not joke, which is anytime somebody famous comes from Canada, even slightly, we claim them as Canadian.
Yeah.
Right? We'll have people who are like, their mother is Canadian, and we'll say, oh, he's Canadian,
Yeah,
right?
No, whereas Kevin Smith is diehard Canada.
Well, exactly, yeah. Kevin Smith's just a fan of Canada, and we're like, good enough, you're Canadian now,
He's done a whole horror anthology that takes place in Canada.
Yeah.
With the third one going into production at some point, which is Moose Jaws, which is literally Jaws with a moose.
I didn't hear about this.
Yes.
I must see it.
The first one is Tusk, which is a man turned into a walrus. The second one is Yoga Hosers with evil...
Yoga Hosers?
Yoga Hosers.
Oh my God.
Which is his daughter and Johnny Depp's daughter, with Johnny Depp in the movie.
That's really funny.
It's not a great movie.
I imagine not, but that's really funny.
And then it's the third and final one, which will be Moose Jaws, which will feature Jay and Silent Bob.
Oh, look, Caitlin is back.
Caitlin!
Yeah, hey, Caitlin. She has a funny idiolect, I guess. The way she speaks, sort of, it's between accents.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is.
She travelled around a lot.
Maybe.
That's what she says in the making of.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was trying to place her accent because I like accents, not because like she sounds.
Or is that the 10-year anniversary Q&A?
I have no way of knowing that.
Unfortunately, she is no longer with us. She passed away.
Oh, you're kidding?
Ago. Yeah.
Oh darn!
She had a long-term illness. So.
Oh dang! Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but I liked her in this. I thought she played the part very well.
Very good.
Just to say, I love accents, and whenever I hear one that's a bit unusual, I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Where's that from? Like, what explains that?
And then you find out about their relationship that she never really cared for Dante and did cheat on him a lot.
Yeah, with 8.5 guys.
Yeah. Don't ask about the half.
He explains the half, but I don't need to get into it. This is already a long show. But yeah, she's back, and Dante proposes to her that they get back together and
go on a date.
Go on a date and see how it goes, despite the fact that she's technically engaged, but she's giving the guy the ring back because she doesn't want to get married to anybody right now.
Her mum printed that advertisement in the paper without her knowing.
Yep, turns out that her mum really likes the guy and jumped the gun a little bit.
And knowing Dante would see that and freak out, actually headed straight to Dante.
Let's be clear, she absolutely was right.
Yeah.
And she's got his number.
Yeah.
Like, she knows.
Dante's on the hook for her, as in, like, they will most probably never get back together properly, but she knows that she can get him at her beck and call at a drop of a hat.
That seems to be the case, yeah. She's also got this line where, Dante, you prefer drastic measures to rational ones. Mm-hmm. And she's right. Mm-hmm. She's absolutely right. But let's be clear here. Dante.
Yeah.
I'm going to speak to Dante, the character, directly here for a second.
Okay.
Listen to me, Dante. You have to dump the girl before you date the other girl. Before.
That's not strictly true. I'm kidding. Yes, you should always.
Yeah,
if you're a good person, that's what you
Carl,
should do.
you awful man.
I'm kidding.
Don't tell the young, impressionable children who are listening to the R18 rated podcast to do this. Good Lord, man. No, like, for real. That's
Dan can say that stuff, but I can't.
Scumbaggery, of course, is the fifth circle of Dante's hell.
Yeah.
The man's a scumbag. He doesn't necessarily mean to be. In his own mind, he means well. The man's a scumbag, and he behaves like a scumbag, and he hurts people like a scumbag.
And again, I'm
losing patience with this guy, but I still root for him for some reason. I still kind of want him to do well.
Because you remember being that guy.
Because I remember being an asshole 22-year-old. I know, right?
That's why we were all looking into it.
Maybe, yeah.
And we had that friend that was a Randall, and we knew those two stoners who would hang out in front of places. It's just like, there's so much relatability.
Some of us were those stoners in front of the convenience store, right?
As I said before on this podcast, and I say again, I didn't start smoking weed until I was 23.
Don't do it any younger, certainly.
No, my brain was fully developed. It's not going to get any worse than this.
Your brain was fully developed?
Yep. I have speech problems.
Bane dabblage.
Yay.
They agreed to a date, though.
Yeah.
They agreed to a date, and then, but it has to be later because she's got stuff to do.
Mm-hmm. Randall comes back into the store, and the jizz mopper conversation happens.
Oh yeah. How much does a gym boxer? Wow. How much does a jizz mopper make?
$3.50.
Just about.
$3.50.
Just about. Is that the best you can do?
Well, you got to clean come off window straight away. It comes streaks if you don't clean it straight away.
Yeah, there's the easily offended man who gives, I think, one of the
that is again Walt Flanagan. That's
amazing.
That is the guy. That's the egg guy. That's the guy who asks for cigarettes.
Could we just clap for that man just a little bit? Just.
I love Walt.
He's so good.
Walt runs Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash in New Jersey. He was one of him, Brian, Ming, and Mike were on Comic Book Men for 7 seasons, which was literally a show about the Secret Stash.
Tell me honestly, was this guy ever on Tim and Eric Awesome Show, Great Job?
No.
Because he has a face that I seem to like. His performance is very reminiscent to me of that style of what in the world am I watching? It's 2 a.m. on Adult Swim or whatever.
No,
right?
he's never actually wanted to be in the limelight. Like, he didn't even want to run the Secret Stash, even though his lifelong dream was to own a comic book shop.
Okay.
Like,
but he doesn't like being on screen. He just did this, I guess, as a favor to his friends sort of thing. Yeah.
Him and Kevin have been friends for years. Kevin was the person who got him into comic books.
Oh, yeah.
He worked in a review center with Walt for years. And he was just like, he found out Walt was into comic books, and he went up to him and was like, oh, I wrote a paper about Batman in high school. He's like, yeah.
I think I was expecting more outward comic bookness in this movie in a lot of ways.
No, that's Mallrats.
Well, this is it, because everything you've told me about Kevin Smith, he's like a big comic book nerd, and I think I'd sort of internalized that to the point where I'm like, Kevin Smith movie, oh, okay, I'm expecting...
Well, that's where you get the Star Wars conversation.
Well, yeah, sure, but I was expecting a bit more of it.
No, you get a lot more of the superhero-y stuff in definitely Mallrats. Mallrats is the more comic book heavy one that he's done.
Okay, yeah, just to say, compared to expectations, how am I finding the film?
Mallrats is why he got the job to do Superman Lives, the failed Superman movie in the 90s. Which
you mean all of them?
No, Nicolas Cage was going to be Superman at one point.
Oh my God, really?
With the script written by Kevin.
Carl, can we still make this happen? Can we tweet? Can we tweet Nick, please?
He's voiced Superman in Teen Titans Go. No, I will link you. I will send you the movie, the documentary about it called The Death of Superman Lives.
Mr. Cage, if you're listening, I don't even want a T-shirt this time. I just want you to make this.
I want
please.
that. I want that. I want that T-Rex skull you have on your coffee table.
Please contact
or your Action Comics #1.
Kevin at Smith.Smith.
No,
probably.
He's at that Kevin Smith.
Somebody keep tweeting him that we need this to happen.
Oh no, it's failed now.
I know it's failed, but we need it to happen even more because of it.
He's doing the Howard the Duck series for Hulu.
That's also on the list, I think.
No, he's the movie Howard the Duck, but he's doing a new animated Howard the Duck series.
I was unaware that was happening.
Yes.
But the movie...
Early news for the next show.
Hooray.
So we're at
but Caitlin's been in the bathroom for a while.
Yeah, we'll get...
She sort of goes to the bathroom. Turns out the lights go off at like 5:14 every day for some reason.
No, we've skipped the part of Randall saying that he has to go to another video store.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So yes, like, you want to go rent a movie. You work in a video store. I want to rent a good movie from a good video store.
I work in a bad video store. If I wanted a bad movie, I'd rent a movie from the bad one.
And the story goes to is just what what RST Video looked like during the day.
They have this lovely... Here's the part I love.
Yeah.
Caitlin comes back, and she and Dante have this big hug. Like, I haven't seen you in a year. Oh my God, how are you? Right, pre-internet, so it's not even like you were talking on Facebook or anything. It was like you had 3 conversations in the last month, right? So she has this big huggy thing, and then cuts to this lovely romantic music and a slow pan across a video store. And hey, look, it's Randall. And the first time I saw that, I was like, so this is just a pan around and they're going to dance or something. No, it's just Randall in the good video store dropping to his knees due to the sheer beauty of where he is.
Yeah.
I kind of miss the video store in a way as a concept and an idea.
I went up to London when they did the pop-up Blockbuster for Deadpool 2.
Oh, yeah.
With all the fake video covers and everything. And you could pre-order. Well, it's to pre-order and buy Deadpool 2.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, there was some really good ones like Braveheart and stuff like that.
That's really good, yeah. Do you know the Angry Video Game Nerd on the internet?
It rings a bell.
Anyway, he was one of the original Angry Video Game reviewer people thing, right? He reviews a lot of old games, that sort of thing. He has recreated a base in his personal basement. He's recreated the video store right down to like the bad wood paneling and, here's a bunch of old VHS tapes with, torn up covers and stuff, right down to like the library card things on it. Yeah. And when he was interviewed about it sort of by some other YouTuber or something, he said, well, I think there's something about this that's worth preserving, right? Like in media history, this is how we consumed media for a good 20 years there. So it's worth preserving at least a little bit. So as far as I know, he is the only museum like that effectively, and it's a little private.
As far as I know, yeah.
That's kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
I love that there's people who do stuff like this, and I love that a little bit of Clerks is being preserved somewhere.
Well, that's the great thing about you can... Well, I'll get to that when we get to near the end.
Caitlin. Thank you. Caitlin's been in the bathroom a while.
Yes. It's revealed once Dante goes back from the date. Randall's been looking after the video store, watching a film about hermaphrodites, chicks with dicks.
Evidently, this is a selling point. And Dante is like... His objection is not, no, that's gross, I don't want to watch that with you when invited to do so by Randall. His objection is, nah, I'm kind of busy tonight.
I've got stuff to do.
I'm like,
but I watched the fact that the line,
sure? Chicks with dicks.
The line that gets me is the fact that I rented this for us.
I didn't even clock onto that. Oh my God. Oh man, that makes another of his lines even better
Yeah.
when he's like warning Caitlin, like, "Hey, listen, if you break his heart again, I'll kill you." Nothing personal.
Yeah, no, we joke, like me and Dan, our family, our brothers, the line we give new girlfriends, once they've been introduced and meet us, when obviously we have that minute alone, like the boyfriend goes to the toilet, and they're comfortable enough to be left alone with us, is the bit where we turn around and it's like, look, we're not threatening you or anything, but if you break that boy's heart, we will find you and we will put you in the ground. And then
we have special skills.
No, the thing is, say we all have corpse burying. We all have corpse burying shoes, and shovels.
Have you ever found that this ends relationships very quickly?
No, a lot of the relationships stuck for a good couple of years.
Well, evidently Caitlin takes it rather well too, because she goes like, "You're so protective of him."
Yeah,
I was here first.
You can. We're going on a date. Ooh, can I watch? You can hold me down. I don't think you're going to be interested. I don't have a dick. Hey, if you do.
That's so good. Again, what like her interplay with Randall in general is
they
excellent.
were in a relationship.
Oh, actually,
they actually started dating during the making of this movie.
Oh, no
and they
way.
were together for a couple of years, and they got married. Actually,
oh, no
they did split shortly afterwards, but they were.
Well, it explains the on-screen chemistry then.
Oh yeah,
because, that was. I just thought they were super good actors. Suddenly,
they did that, but they had that natural chemistry, and it did flourish into a relationship.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Dante gets back from his getting ready for the day, and then Caitlin comes out the bathroom, very pleased with herself.
Yeah, doing the whole like I'm showing you in the sitcom way. I've clearly just had sex.
Yeah,
pulling the she was wearing a tie before. Now she's no
in the
longer
noughties.
wearing the tie.
It would have come with sound effects like. Burr, 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 burr.
I'm not allowed to do that in these episodes anymore, am I?
You can put it in over that. If you want. You can cut that.
Are you giving me tacit permission to insert as much air horn as I want?
Not as much as air horn as you want.
Oh my god. I could just make a whole episode.
Liberal use of air horn.
So liberal.
A soupçon of air horn.
But yeah,
and then he's just like...
So he's just come in though, and she goes, "How did you get out here so fast?
How did you pass me in the one aisle between the bathroom and this counter that we've seen?"
Right. Is there like a back entrance? He goes like, "Well, what are you talking about?" "Well, you were so good right now because we just had sex in the bathroom. Don't you remember just now?" No, I don't remember that. I don't remember that at all because I just got here. So she, horrified at what maybe just happened.
She's potentially been... I don't want to use the word, but raped.
Well, that's what Dante says.
Yeah,
at a certain point, it would be like rape by deception if somebody deceived you. But as it turns out, the guy was not able to deceive anybody because
no, it was the old man from earlier who had died, had a heart attack mid-tug, and rigor mortis had set in.
Yep, and the erection can last for rather a long time.
Yeah.
So that's what she'd just done. So
she literally fucked a dead guy.
By accident.
Thinking
that it was Dante.
Yes. Clerks,
everybody. This is one of those moments where I was like, oh.
It is.
Oh, that's...
It was one of those things where...
Like, have they gone too far now? I don't know.
Considering what comes out, the movies that have come out since, no.
Yeah, I know.
It's very out there for the time, but it's one of the things that caught people's attention. It's one of the reasons the movie got picked up.
I guess, yeah. I mean, do what you got to do. But in the context of the movie, it was one of those slightly cringe moments for me that sort of generally turned me off of things. Not speaking for anybody else. So I nearly turned off at this point, and I probably would have had I not been making a podcast about it. Just it's too gross. It's too bad. I can't do it. So, but I'm glad I completed the film, actually. I'm glad I finished the film for reasons we'll keep going into.
Yes. Now, obviously, that Caitlin isn't taken away in an ambulance.
Well, did you notice who else was in the ambulance? The dead guy, of course.
Yeah.
Which is weird, because why are you taking a dead guy to the hospital? And then,
it would a lot of hospitals in the US have morgues. So
I guess maybe, yeah, you're not wrong. So he's there, and also her. And that's when I'm also like, why would you bring both of them, given that that's the cause of her trauma? You call a second ambulance, guys. But okay.
Budget
maybe. Or
I think they only had the ambulance.
And there's a third person in there, Carl. Did you notice who that is?
I can't remember.
Snowball.
Oh, yeah.
Snowball's just randomly in there. for reasons.
I think he's playing the medic. I think it was another, we need someone to play this role.
I guess. I don't know. It was recognizably him, so it's either like him in another costume.
I'm guessing that much.
It might be. I don't know.
So we're approaching the end of the night.
We are. I think there's a couple of lines that I noted here.
Mm-hmm.
Randall saying, if you want Caitlin, then talk to Veronica and be with Caitlin.
Yeah.
If you want Veronica, then be with Veronica, but don't pine for one and fuck the other.
Yeah.
Thank you, Randall.
Randall's the voice of reason in this movie. It's one of the reasons why I think this movie works so well, because the guy who sold the guy who sold cigarettes to kids is the voice of reason.
He is Jiminy Cricket.
Dante and Randall have a fight because of about shitting or getting off the pot. Salsa shock.
Yeah, I mean, they're starting to have a disagreement at this point, right?
Yeah.
Do they fight before the line? Because we're coming up to the line.
No, they fight beforehand. Then it's the end of the day. So Jay and Silent Bob have finished their work day after dancing outside. And
I think there's another thing that happens first, because there's a conversation that happens between some people who go to the store. Jay and Silent Bob come into the shop and have a brief conversation about, hey, Veronica, though, what's she about? Oh, well, I see her doing all kinds of stuff for you.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Right? Like, didn't she change your tire once?
What you call a good plate with nothing on it?
No, wait, I fucked up.
And
that's what his grandmother used to say, but she used to shit herself, so what does she know?
Yeah.
And as Jay, probably meaning well, but then swearing his ass off.
He's got his blunt wraps. He's got his beer. He's heading off to a party.
Invites Dante for that's nice of him.
Well, that's the thing. Jay and Silent Bob don't have a problem with Dante and Randall.
No,
they'd happily have come to this party, smoke a blunt with us.
Yeah, you smoke? No, it's cool. You want to come anyway? Yeah. No, I can't. Oh, you don't hang out with drug dealers? Yeah, nothing personal.
Yeah,
I think that nobody has a problem with each other. It's just sort of I don't actually feel comfortable around drugs.
Well,
I feel that's fine.
Then of course Silent Bob having his only line in the movie going, "There's a lot of fine ass bitches in the world."
He doesn't. I have the exact line if you want.
Oh yeah, no, I get misconstrued. Go for it.
There's a million fine looking women in the world, dude, but they don't all bring you lasagna at work. Most of them just cheat on you. Then he just leaves.
Yeah,
leaving Dante to have his moment of realization
that the stoner knows more than him.
Thank you, no longer Silent Bob.
Yeah. Well, no longer Fat Bob either.
Yeah, he lost some weight in the movie, I guess.
Oh no, that's the skinniest he is in his career till his heart attack last year.
Okay.
I think he's dropped 120 odd pounds.
Yeah, so they have this conversation. Dante realizes, well, shit, you're right. I'm in love with Veronica. What am I doing with this Caitlin shit? I need to go to Veronica right now.
Yeah.
Cut to Randall telling Veronica that
he wants Caitlin.
He wants Caitlin and is no longer in love with Veronica. Whoopsie.
Yeah.
I mean, in Randall's defense, he was just told not an hour ago that this was the case. That in fact that Dante is planning to go to Caitlin, get back together with her,
and then
tell Veronica.
Yeah.
I'm getting shades of Scott Pilgrim here, and a bit of a scumbag.
It's very much the thing between Ramona Flowers and Knives. Yeah, 100%.
They don't have a clear relationship in this, though. Like Veronica and Caitlin don't seem to have any.
They know of each other because they both dated.
Yeah, whereas after a while, Knives or whatever, that develops a bit more.
I think Caitlin was the girlfriend before Veronica.
Yes,
I think that's how they.
Yeah, in high school.
Yeah,
for like 5 years.
Yeah.
And then Veronica, they've been together for 7 months, I think they say in the movie.
A year, nearly a year.
It was something like 5 or 7 months.
Yeah.
It was under a year, but it was a while, right? Like long enough where this is a relationship, it's not 3 dates.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
But yeah, Veronica then arrives at the shop, throws the dude to the floor because she's a badass, and in a tirade that I'm not even going to try to replicate, because just watch the movie again, guys. It's beautiful. She drops some serious truth on the guy. And as she's leaving, he declares his love for her, to which she says, fuck you. and leaves.
Yeah.
Commence the best bad fight scene I've ever seen.
No,
so bad.
The Randall and Dante fight.
This is when the fight happens.
Yeah, but they can't. But the destruction afterwards. Kevin Smith had to pay for all the stuff.
Yeah.
Like he had to spend a couple of $100 on confectionery.
Charge it to production.
No, he just bought it flat out, right?
Oh, I know.
And then just that was the crew's food. They filmed that first.
Yeah, and
so
then
there was food for the rest of the trip.
Pro tip: I'm a Foley artist.
Yeah.
I have definitely slapped around some meat before, bought a steak and slapped it for slappy flap, for slappy flappy slaps sounds.
And then just
I'm so tired, Carl.
And then just ate the steak.
Well, later on, yeah, it wasn't very good, but we called it tenderized. Chicken's a little bit more difficult.
You got to beat your meat, kids.
You do, if you want it to be extra tender.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love a good bad fight scene. As much as I do have a small amount of background in combat sports, and I do love a realistic, nice-looking fight scene, I like that this is one of the most realistic fight scenes I've ever seen between two characters who clearly have no idea how to fight and who don't really want to hurt each other.
No, they're just annoyed. Dante's annoyed at Randall, and he's just venting frustration.
It's like watching 8-year-olds fight by throwing candy at each other.
Yeah.
That's sort of what it is, and they'll hit each other in the head, but they're not trying to injure each other.
But they reconcile shortly afterwards. It's one of those things, it's just getting the anger out, because he can't be mad at Randall, really, because Randall only was trying to help him of what he knew. He didn't know that he had changed his mind again.
How could he have known?
Exactly.
He was just told about a thing, and he used his judgment. Which, again, it's thematically a bit weird that a character using their best judgment is one of the things that gets Randall in trouble, despite the fact that it's going on about, well, you should take agency and responsibility for your own shit. And here's Randall taking responsibility for someone else's shit out of a sense of duty and obligation almost.
It's not that. It's just it's the whole of his shit and get off the pot argument.
Yeah.
Is the fact that he knows that Dante most probably won't, so he's going to have to push him.
I guess, but you know what I mean? Like, every bad thing that happens in this movie is because people are sort of blindly doing stuff out of a sense of duty and obligation,
which is
that maybe
which happens a lot in real life.
Which happens a lot in real life, but you know what I mean? It's like this is the tragic flaw whenever something bad happens. I'm here on my day off. I shouldn't be here today, but I am, and that's why all this stuff is happening. No, it's not. It's because you're not making a decision, mate. But at the same time, Randall sort of, well, I have a duty to my friend. I should make sure that he's okay. So I'm just going to take an action without telling him out of a sense of duty and obligation. So it's duty and obligation as a negative, which I don't see a lot in any fiction, which it makes the movie feel very unique.
It goes back to a quote from Dante earlier on when they're talking about Star Wars is the reason he loves Empire, because life's a series of down endings. All Jedi had was a bunch of Muppets. He's just he says because Luke find out Vader's his father, loses his hand, and the rebellion loses. That's what life is. It's not always successful.
For real though, Act 2 is usually better than Act 3 in terms of excitement, because that's where all the stuff happens. Yeah. So it's okay for Empire to be better than Jedi, because Jedi sort of has just all the denouement at the end.
Yeah, but that's just I'm just using what the example.
Oh no, I totally got it, but I'm also we're also having that conversation. That's the B story of the podcast. Our podcast has a B story. You're welcome, audience.
Yes. Don't make the subtext text. Where were you raised?
In the text. Was this not clear?
All right. So we're nearing the end of the movie now.
We are.
I think, is it literally the last scene where he's closing up?
Well, I want to point out one specific line as they're lying in the detritus of their fight. The worst tragedy is that I'm not even supposed to be here today.
Yeah.
And this is where Randall sort of loses it with him a bit. We haven't really seen him lose his cool ever.
No.
And he loses his cool here a bit, and he says, fuck you, man. I have been doing the best that I can possibly do here. I am working with a limited set of information. What do you want me to do here?
I'm trying to make the day a bit better.
I'm trying for you, mate.
Yeah.
Right? Out of sense.
Because I'm happy. I'm content. You're the one who's got a fucking problem here.
We both work a shitty job. I'm okay with it. I know it's a shitty job, and I'm fine. You work a shitty job, and you need to imagine to yourself as this big, grandiose thing. Fucking go to school, man. Go back to education. Which Veronica wants you to do.
Yeah.
You're going to be happier. But you have this inability to improve your station in life, which he says earlier in the movie. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. Yeah, so we finished the movie where all of Dante's relationships, except for that with Randall, are weaker, but the one with Randall is stronger.
Yeah.
Which is nice, but somehow I finished the film feeling hopeful for Dante. Like, okay, well, he's now going to do that last hero's journey return having changed, right? So maybe he's going to go to Veronica and be like, you know what? I now understand where I'm at a bit better. I sort of ended up with that feeling that maybe things are going to get better later for him.
And you will find that out when we do Clerks 2.
It's on the list. We might not do it for a while because we want to not do sequels right after.
I don't mind going through the A View Askew-verse with you, like going tangentially through the timeline.
Well, maybe, yeah. I just we'll figure out which order we do it in. I am looking forward to that. May I just say one last little just whiff of loveliness?
Oh, don't worry. I want to tell you about the alternative ending.
There's an alternative ending?
Yes.
Oh, well, I can't wait for that. So the credits, you know I always read the credits. You know I always read the credits with a particular view to the sound people because I am a dub mixer. I do all of this stuff myself, and I'm always interested to see what work people have done before. So their credits read as follows. Edit, Scott Mosier and Kevin Smith.
Yep.
Initial incompetent sound editor, Scott Mosier.
Yep.
Accomplished sound editor, James von Bülow.
Yeah.
Bülow?
Von Bueller.
Von Bueller. So, and he's also the master sound mixer.
Yeah.
I love that. Like, they started editing the sound. I'm sure, was Scott Mosier like the... Scott Mosier?
Scott Mosier was at the Vancouver Film School when Kevin Smith was. They were in the same group. They worked together.
Okay.
Scott stayed and finished the course there, so he left with a qualification in filmmaking.
Sure.
Whereas Kevin drops it out. But that's the deal they made is whoever writes their movie first.
This is these two, yeah.
Yeah.
So Scott Mosier did the edit, which they seem to have co-edited it. And it looks to me like Scott Mosier tried to do the sound, having no idea how to do sound, and then we're like, well, we can't do this on our own. There's
the original sound that they did for like the initial release in the original film, and then there's the sound once the Miramax bought it and redid the sound editing.
Right. I think I read that on IMDb actually, because the original was in mono.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So he would have done the mono one, and then they did a proper Dolby mix in stereo and 5.1 or whatever.
Once Miramax bought it, yeah.
This whole thing actually, it's quite clever in terms of audio to do only or like mostly dialogue, because you generally throw that straight in the center, right? I don't care where the actor is on the screen, you generally throw it in the center, because otherwise if it's all the way on the left, people all the way on the right of the theater have trouble hearing. It's a whole, there's an art to it, right? If you just do everything in mono, that's fine. All of the dialogue is straight center, pretty classic. And then you sort of, if you have stereo, you throw the music to the sides. I think in my setup, it's a stereo setup. I heard a few little sound effects on the left at one point.
Yeah.
But, you know, they don't do much with the stereo field, and I think that's fine.
Yeah.
They do enough.
The alternative ending to Clerks was after Randall goes home, one additional customer comes into the store. It's a robbery, and Dante gets shot.
Oh, Jesus.
And Dante dies.
That would be a lot less positive.
Yeah. They're literally...
I'm glad they cut that.
The guy... Well, that was the original very first cut. It was changed once Miramax got hold of it to leave it open to possibly a sequel, which didn't happen for another 15, 16 years.
So he was supposed to die according to Kevin Smith's original...
no, 22 years. It was 2006 the sequel came.
Oh, wow. So he was supposed to die, though, in Kevin Smith's original script. Yeah. And in fact,
Dante was going to die in a robbery gone wrong.
And that was also the version that was shown at Sundance.
That was the version that was shown. Yeah, that was the version that was shown at at Sundance and the New York festival where it debuted, where it got where a woman the only other person in the audience was a woman for a newspaper reviewer who gave it to Jim Jacks, and Jim Jacks put it forward to Sundance, and that's where the story goes.
Oh wow, cool. So I'm not sure how I feel about that. How do you feel about that ending? Like, is there a canon one that's specifically, because I guess there's a Clerks too, so there has to be a canon he lives. But
yeah, no. It was literally the only reason I've seen the original cut, because it came with the Clerks 10 DVD.
Clerks 10.
Clerks X.
Jesus.
It was the 10-year anniversary of Clerks. It was Clerks X.
I mean, I'm in for 2 of them. I don't know if I'm in for 9 more.
Which was the theatrical 3-disc set, theatrical release, extended original cut, and the documentary.
Okay. But how do you feel about that? Like, because I'm not sure.
I wouldn't have enjoyed it as much if Dante had died at the end of the movie. Yeah.
I feel like you need that hopefulness at the end, having identified with this character.
But again,
I would kind of want to feel a bit of hope for the character.
It also justifies Dante's feelings throughout the whole day that he wasn't supposed to be there. If he wasn't there that day, he wouldn't have died.
Yeah, but I think it turns it from an interesting slice of life from a dude into only the story of a spectacularly bad day.
Yeah.
It almost
which was actually what Kevin Smith originally wanted to write.
I think he ended up with something better.
Yeah.
I think he developed it into something better than that. I think the cut that I saw where is good.
It's the last time we see Jeff Anderson or Randall until Clerks 2, because him and Kevin Smith have a bit of a falling out.
In real life, you mean?
In real life.
Yeah.
But Brian O'Halloran has a cameo as different Hickses in nearly every movie. He has a small cameo in different roles.
Nice.
He's like he's Gil Hicks, Bill Hicks.
Old Gil.
Yeah, Gil Hicks is in Mallrats. Bill Hicks is in Chasing It. He's
Any relation?
No, yeah, apparently they're all related. They're all the same family.
I meant Bill Hicks. Is he actually Bill Hicks?
No.
Because that would also be funny.
I think that was the nod, because I think Bill had not long passed away at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that is Clerks.
That was Clerks.
Over a review. Did you enjoy the movie?
I did. I think it took me a while to warm up to it. The initial, what was the production company called again?
View Askew.
Yeah, View Askew. The old man and the kid playing with the ball, and that really sort of. I know I go on about it, and it's just a thing for the production company, but is the first thing that I see going into a film. It leaves a bad impression to me. So the first sort of 10 minutes, that was still sort of going, oh, I'm not sure about this. I don't know.
It becomes this more animation style of Jay and Silent Bob, like Jay, I think it's Jay strangling Bob with a
visual references on a podcast.
Oh, I'm wearing a Jay and Silent Bob 20th anniversary, Secret Stash 20th anniversary t-shirt that my friend got me from Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash.
Yeah, we might tweet that out just for a reference when we...
I had to wear one of my Kevin Smith shirts.
Yeah, it's a good shirt. I get that, but just to say, in the thing that I saw, I'm not familiar with the universe. All I've seen is Clerks now.
Yeah, but I was shocked. I was as shocked at it when I saw it as well. So
yeah, I guess that's part of the experience. But that really put me off. So had it not been for the podcast and I need to make a show about this and about my impressions of it, had I not been making a review, I'm not sure that I would have kept watching after the first 10 or 20 minutes, just going, oh, this is dumb. I'm going to watch something else. Why do people care about Kevin Smith again? I don't know. But I'm glad I watched all of it because the film has a unique feel to it. I can't put my finger on exactly why, but it feels very different than watching any movie I've ever seen.
Yeah. It's a truly unique movie. It's also the first ever convenience store movie.
No movie had been in a convenience store before?
Flat out set in a convenience store. No.
Oh wow, you're kidding. Yeah. I guess convenience stores had been part of a setting.
Yeah,
actually doing the whole thing in. Man, you would have thought.
Yeah, no,
huh? But yeah, as I understand it, it was more of a resource film. So there was a lot of corner cutting. I've been teaching myself some cinematography recently with my cheap little camera there. So when I see an immense amount of high ISO grain in the film, I'm like, okay, so they were working with bad lighting conditions or with film that wasn't right, and they couldn't exactly walk around with all of the film that they needed. You have to get the shot that day because you brought the actors in, but maybe the lights are on. Oh, okay, I totally get it. It does make it feel low rent, but it doesn't make it feel cheap. No, if that makes any sense. No, it feels inexpensive rather than cheap.
Yeah, which is what it is. I mean, he put it together on a shoestring budget and did the best he could. It was just lucky that when except for his cast, there was one other person in the cinema that day when they debuted it, and that person was a reviewer and. It got to a very well-known producer in Hollywood, and they said it's the untold gem of that film festival, and it got into Sundance, and then it just all went from there.
I mean, they're not wrong, right? Because, I mean, let's start from the beginning. In terms of just visual fidelity, it's not very good, but their cinematography is spectacular given the limitations. There's a scene where Jay and Silent Bob are just dancing. And Silent Bob is half completely in black shadow, right? The frame is a third black, completely black. Jay is sort of a silhouette dancing in the bright light, and you see half of Silent Bob dancing. It's a really interesting shot, right? It's really interesting. It's film noir in a lot of ways, which I have no idea how to say in English. Film noir, right? Yeah. It's film noir, but it doesn't feel like film noir. It feels like a Prodigy video, but it doesn't feel like a Prodigy video. It feels like a Kevin Smith movie. Yeah. Like, this is what I keep coming back to. It feels very unique. The way that they do a dance scene is very unique. The way that they orchestrate the music is very unique.
And trust me, they go complete 180 in the dance scene in the next movie.
Okay.
In Clerks 2.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. But I as much as I've gone on with, like, it's sometimes the delivery is stilted or whatever, I seriously love, which is weird to say, I seriously love that I can tell there's non-actors sometimes. Like, a couple of Veronica's lines, she's a little halting, bit stiff, a bit whatever, but I nonetheless, she nails enough of it that it sounds like a real person speaking, because real people, we and we and we sort of occasionally restart sentences. You've heard enough of that on the podcast. I don't always edit it out because it would sound like we're professional actors, which we're not. We should not sound like we have an authentic voice. So every episode I'm trying to make choices in the edit, like how much of this do I leave in? I feel like they would have had like 4 takes of a scene and been like, let's choose the one that makes her sound like a human instead of an actor, which sounds weird in a way, but you know what I mean.
They didn't have many takes. That's the thing. They only had X amount of film, so a lot of those were one and dones.
Yeah, I've trained on a film camera on a Super 16, actually, one of the old TV cameras here in the UK, and a whole reel of film is like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
right. If you're running at 24 instead of 25,
yeah,
which if you're working TV that cuts another 30-40 seconds off of it right there. It's crazy.
Yeah,
you have to plan your shots. And a certain amount of that is also rolling before the actual shot to slate in and make sure your sound is rolling and all that. So, I mean, digital has really spoiled us.
Oh, yeah.
We forget how hard it was. And to make something this good in the 90s on that kind of budget, I mean, I'm in awe of this kind of thing. I aspire to this kind of thing, and it really...
It's one of the reasons Kevin Smith is one of my idols and one of my inspirations is because of this movie. It's just the fact that he wanted to tell the story. He did everything he could, and he told his story. He was content with this being a movie that he would pay off the rest of his life for, but would once a year would pop on and watch. And just remembered that he loved who he was when he was doing that.
Yeah.
Like, he got luck. Again, luck is the main... He says he's one of the luckiest people in the world. He believes in God because he has a career.
Wow.
This is a man who's every year is the only director that gets a Q&A panel every year at Comic-Con. San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah.
He has his Q&A on the Saturday night in Hall H. He closes out Hall H every year on the Saturday.
Yeah, he's certainly been... what's nice about it, too, is he didn't just sit on Clerks. He's a filmmaker first, which is what I quite like.
He says he's a storyteller.
Fair point. Fair enough. But he's that first. He's making stories because he wants to make stories, not because he wants to be a big director or something, right? He doesn't have any...
The only film he said he's ever done... was and it's the only film he's directed that wasn't his own written material was Cop Out, but he did that because it was a buddy cop movie with Bruce Willis, and he's always wanted to work with Bruce Willis. He hasn't want to work with him since, but it was also a movie that his dad took him to see as a kid, so it was a film to honor his dad.
That's fair. I mean, I feel like that just wraps into... Was it any good?
No.
That wraps into a little bit what the theme of Clerks was, isn't it? Because duty and obligation are ultimately things that might doom you if you're not careful about it.
Yeah, but again,
careful about what actions you take due to only this. So if you have a duty or obligation to your own past promises, even to yourself, I'm going to work with Bruce Willis maybe, or I'm going to do this for my dad, as opposed to I'm going to make a film that I want to make. I don't think you would have made Clerks if it were for someone else. I think you would have made something else, possibly something worse.
Well, you get to Jersey Girl later on, but
I don't know what that means. I haven't seen Jersey Girl.
It's a movie that's trifled by the things going on along around it with its stars.
My verdict of this for anyone who hasn't seen it, if you're going to recommend it to a friend, I'm assuming anybody listening has seen it. I'm going to say watch it twice.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that it's a 90-minute movie. Watch it twice.
It's a movie that needs a second pass.
I think so. I got way more out of it on the second pass because, again, I watch these once for just watch it and once for making jokes. And typically on the second time through, I'm noticing a lot more. I'm being a bit more analytical about it, where the first time I'm just along for the ride.
It's the same with me with superhero movies. I always say to people, I see it as in two versions of myself. I see it as the fanboy and I see it as the critic.
Yeah.
Like,
I think you have to.
Some superhero movies are great superhero movies because of their attention to detail, costume, and links to the actual universe and stuff. But some of them are terrible movies.
Yeah. I could definitely see some people not liking this movie. I don't think this is I don't think this has universal appeal, call it.
This is one of those films where when I discovered it, I wanted to show it to everyone, and not everyone loved it as much as I did.
Yeah, it's a little bit one of those.
Yeah. It's like why I don't show wrestling matches to friends.
I'm trying so hard to understand wrestling.
Yeah, no. But that's why I've never sent. I've never sent you matches to watch. So.
You haven't, but I'm trying so hard to understand your world, Carl.
Yeah,
and after a while,
right.
it's just not going to make sense
It's
to me,
fine.
and that's okay. It takes all kinds of people. But my verdict on this is watch. If I'm gonna recommend it to someone, I'm gonna say give it 2 watches over a couple of days, maybe, and don't. If it's been overhyped to you, don't let it be. It's a good movie. Just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Right. I like a lot of it as a critic. I like the fact that the stories all sort of wrap into each other nicely. I like that there's no sort of wasted space in the script. I like that the actors are just amateur enough that it makes it feel real.
Yeah.
It's a little mumblecore in that way, which it's the part of mumblecore I like, as opposed to the part that it makes no sense, which I like less. I like this movie, I think. Possibly. It's definitely unique. And I'm looking forward to seeing some more Kevin Smith. I definitely now want to see more Kevin Smith in a way that before I was just aware of him.
The next one is the flop financially, but is regarded as one of his best movies, which is Mallrats.
Looking forward to it, yeah.
Which is Clerks is my favorite, but it's the one that I could sit down and show people what a Kevin Smith movie is I will tell them to watch Mallrats. It does help that it has a Stan Lee cameo.
At this point, just like we got to make a collection of every movie with a Stan Lee
It's Stan Lee's biggest role in any movie was Clerks. He's an actual character in the movie.
In Clerks?
Yeah. No, in Mallrats, sorry.
Oh, Jesus. I was going to say, how did I miss Stan Lee?
The poster for Mallrats has a big, the sticker that, core issue or anything like a comic book says featuring Stan Lee.
That's amazing.
Yeah. We can wrap this up. You can follow us on Twitter at _popculturepod. You can follow us on Facebook at podpopculture, and you can follow us on Instagram at popculturepod. I'm on Twitter at halfblind1989.
I'm now also on Twitter.
Oh my God, Paul got Twitter.
Yeah, I'm at Speakercone.
At Speakercone.
Yep, I also have a YouTube channel now, which is Speakercone.
Yep.
On the YouTubes, where I make videos about going out to collect sounds. Very different than this stuff, but that's what I do. I make sound effects, and I've started documenting the process of getting those sound effects. And eventually you'll be able to buy some packs, I think. I'm working on it.
In the time of recording, we are recording another PCP very, very soon.
Yes.
So
we're back!
Yeah, I've been Carl Rodent.
I've been Paul.
And we'll catch you soon.
Peace.
Bye. Navy SEAL!